Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Draft Day here at the Dyl Pickle Movie Network, a show where we draft things. That's as simple as it is. I have some special panelists to bring on board for this, so I'm just going to introduce them right away. First up, we have from Recipe for Reality, my good buddy Zach Love. How are you, Zach?
I'm doing great. Ever since the last draft day where I got 0 votes, I've watched Stranger Things since then. I've got my Camp Nowhere hat on, and I'm ready to. I'm ready for the Force. You know what I mean?
Great. Yes. Next in line, I'm just going in the order I have y'all, is from Framerec on the channel. He was also on the last draft. It is Mr. Matt Chapman. How you doing, Matt?
Hey, I'm doing great. Zach, stop eating on the feed.
It's draft day, buddy. It's draft day. You gotta have your snacks. You gotta have your snacks, man.
No, I'm doing great. I'm very excited.
Cool.
I love Star Wars, and
Yeah.
I'm very excited for this.
We'll get more into it in just a bit. Also joining us for the first time on this show, he is a friend of Matt's, introduced to the channel. Very happy to have him on board, and that is Chris Scott. Hello, Chris. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing well. Just happy to be here. I'm excited.
Yeah, great. We're happy to have you. And lastly, we have, I thought his name was Chad, but I guess it was short for something that I didn't realize it stood for. So here, for the first time with his real name, Chad Webb. Chad Baca, how are you?
I'm doing great, and may the Force be with all of you.
That's right. We're doing this in honor of the release of Obi-Wan. It will have aired by the time that releases that first episode. We're all very excited. But today, we are doing a Star Wars character draft. How that'll work, I'm going to pull up the rules right here. There will be 5 rounds total, so you only have to pick 5 things for your roster. A random draft order will be selected by a wheel in just a minute. The draft is snaked, so if you have the last pick in round 1, you will have the first pick in round 2. And we'll I'll keep the order going so you guys can remember who's next and all that jazz. For this particular draft, every person must draft one of the following. We did this similarly in the Disney draft, but this one we have totally different categories. So the first is a main hero. Think your main people you'd see on the poster that aren't villains, basically, except for a few exceptions, which we'll get to later. But number 2 is a villain. You have to draft one villain on your roster. You have to draft a droid. I actually thought this category was a lot smaller until I actually looked at a list of all of them, and there are quite a few. But yeah, we will each have to pick a droid. We will also each have to pick a supporting creature. This is where like Wookiees, aliens, Ewoks, all those kind of fit in. We're not going for the super obscure ones because there is a category for obscure side characters. But the supporting creature is more like some very prominent characters that are not your main characters. It'll make more sense as we go along. If there's a discrepancy of like which category something belongs in, we can talk about it, because as always there is a veto. So if someone disagrees with the eligibility of the pick or the category they were picked in, because I guess there are 1 or 2 things that could probably fit in multiple categories, but if you think it belongs in a different category or you think it just doesn't belong at all, you can veto, and then you will need at least 3 of the 4 other people to veto as well. So you're only allowed 1 yes and 3 nays, and then the pick will be vetoed, and your pick will be overturned. You'll have to pick another pick, but we haven't really run into that problem too much. There were a few vetoes thrown out last draft, but it ended up not always being successful.
It didn't even matter.
It didn't even matter. But speaking of the last draft, I do want to bring it up just because it's fun to share who won these drafts. We tried it on Instagram. We tried it on Instagram. Instagram didn't get much traction. We tried it on Twitter. Twitter also didn't get much traction. But the real traction came from the Facebook group. So in the future, if you want to vote on these draft day polls, head to the Facebook group, the Dyl Pickle Movie Network. There's a page and a group. We're kind of phasing the page out. We're going to make the group the thing that we go by, because that's the only place where I can have polls. So on the poll, according to this, there were not a ton of votes. So we're going to keep this rolling throughout the year since this was the first one. So at the moment, my draft is in the lead with 4 votes. Chad's is close behind with 3. I believe, Matt, you were draft 3, correct? Matt, I think you were. Yes.
So, yeah.
You're right behind there with 3 as well, tied with Chad. And then right behind is Kelsey with 2 votes. Zach, you have not gotten a single vote yet, but this is why I want to keep it growing, because as people join the channel, they can vote for this draft day poll. Because, with only 10 or so votes, it's hard to spread the wealth for everyone. So, Zach, don't feel left out yet. A year from now, when we're on our 1-year anniversary of the Disney draft.
He still won't have any
I
votes.
still won't have a single vote, even though Stitch is my furry friend. I'll have 0 votes.
But that was the last draft, so technically I am still in the lead, but I'm not going to call it yet. I'm not going to like say it's over because there are still people that can join the Facebook group and vote for that and vote for this current poll. And as always on the polls, we will only have draft 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 because we don't want to sway based on popularity of people because a lot of the people joining the Facebook group are going to be friends of ours, so we don't want to just tip our hands and say this was my draft or his draft or his draft. If they watch the show, they'll know, but then they'll have a little more context to the picks. Whereas if you're just looking at the poll, we want to make it as fair as possible, so our names will not be attached to that. But that's how the Disney draft stands now. But we're ready to get into the Star Wars draft.
I have a
real ready. Yes, Matt. What's up?
Sorry. Oh, I just have a quick rules question, just so we don't have another Stitch Winnie the Pooh situation.
Yes.
The supporting creatures.
Mm-hmm.
That's any character, any side character who that is not or any supporting character who is not a human or a droid. Correct? That's what we're going with.
That is correct. And if there are some that are like a little bit more obscure, like you can pick a creature in the obscure category, but let's say for the supporting creature, they should at least be like a prominent role in one of the films or one of the TV series. Like I don't want to give an example, but someone like a random side character you'll see in Jabba's palace would go in the obscure category rather than the supporting creatures. But Jabba, if he wasn't a villain, he would be in the villains category. But if he wasn't a villain, he'd be in the supporting because he is a bigger main focus of that movie. We'll clarify as we go. But I have the wheel. We're going to spin first. And what this means, does not mean the order. This is just where you will choose your place in the order. So say it spins on Matt first. Matt will choose if he wants first through fifth. That doesn't necessarily mean he'll get the first pick. So I'm spinning it now. And it is Matt. So Matt, you will get your first pick. Do you want the first, second, third, fourth, or fifth draft pick?
I'm very excited about this, Dylan. I'm sorry, Zach, but I am going to go with pick number 1.
You have
pick
to.
Number
You,
one.
You have to.
Yeah.
Because we know.
I tried to talk Kelsey out of first place last time, and I did. I talked her into going to fifth, but then Dylan got first.
So here we go with the second spin. I'll keep it a little closer, and it is Chad Baca. Chad Baca, would you like to pick second, third, fourth, or fifth?
I'll go second.
All right. So Chad with the second. Sorry, Chad Baca with the second pick, and let's spin again. This is always the most anxious part of the draft for me. Ooh,
This happened the last time, man.
This is my favorite.
I'm actually gonna go because I think no matter what happens, no matter what the first 4 picks, I think I'd rather have 2 picks back to back. So I'm gonna take the 5th pick. I'm gonna go with the Kelsey strategy and go 5th pick. So now between Zach and Chris, we'll find out who's gonna get the 3rd overall pick and the 4th overall pick.
Congratulations, Chris.
Zach usually has bad luck, so
Oh my God! Thank you,
Zach. Would you like 3rd overall pick or 4th overall?
Third.
All right.
There's 3 that I really want, and I can't lose all 3 of them.
Great.
I can lose 2, but I cannot lose all 3.
So our draft order is Matt, you are the 1st overall pick. Chad Baca, you are the 2nd. Zach, you are the 3rd. Chris, you are the 4th, and I am the 5th pick, which means in the 2nd round, I will go first, then Chris, then Zach, then Chad, then Matt. So Matt, you will have 8 picks in between your 1st and 2nd pick. So we'll see if that strategy pays off. But let's start with the 1st overall pick of the draft. Matt, you have your choice of anything really from this board. What do you want? Who is the 1-1 overall for you? I have a clear one in my mind, but I don't know if it's the same as yours.
And there was a lot of discussion behind the scenes of who the first pick was going to be because a lot of people think there is an obvious 1-1. I don't think it's the one I'm going to pick but I do know I have an idea what everybody's talking about. So I'm not going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about my first pick, who is he's one of my top 5 favorite fictional characters of all time. He's one of my absolute favorite characters. In fact, this actor plays another one of my top 5 favorite characters of all time. And he had, I know I've already given it away. He has some of the most iconic lines in the entire series. In fact, I'm going to get Dylan to say one right now, and he doesn't even know what I'm asking, and that is, Dylan, I love you.
I know.
See, it's Han Solo.
Okay, that was not what I thought you were gonna go for.
I knew it wouldn't be.
Yeah, great pick. I mean, you get the advantage of the original trilogy plus the sequels plus the solo spin-off movie. What do you all think of that pick? Let's start with Chris. You're the newbie. What do you think of that
That
pick?
was going to be my first one.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah,
Look at
I was
that.
going with Han Solo.
It's a good pick. Zach, what do you think?
I respect the pick. Damn boy. Han Solo wasn't near my top. He's in my heroes, but he was not my top.
Okay,
I have a different top. But
very interesting.
A good pick. A good
Chad Baga? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I love Harrison Ford a lot. I don't love Han Solo as much as a lot of people do.
I agree.
So I probably wouldn't have picked him up there either, but I definitely respect the pick because he's a very popular character.
Yeah,
I'm glad I said I love you to Dylan and not the YouTube.
It wasn't who I thought was going to go 1-1, but it is still going to play really well in the graphic because, people who I feel like are not huge Star Wars people but have seen a few of them, still, they know Han Solo, they love Han Solo usually because he's one of the most memorable of that original trilogy especially. So I think it's a good pick. Now we move on, actually, to pick number 2, which is going to be Chad Baca's. I'm curious to see where you're going to go with this, Chad.
Well, I mean, I was sitting here thinking about what I wanted to do, and everybody was talking about obvious picks, and I don't think Matt's was the earth-shattering one that everyone were like, damn it. I don't know if mine will be either, and I kind of, because I'm going to go villain, obviously.
Oh no!
But I was thinking, which route that I want to go with villain, because I really love the new trilogy except for the last movie, but I was just thinking about which villain should I actually go, and I think I have to go for
Rip the Band-Aid, Chad. Rip the Band-Aid, man.
huh?
I said rip the Band-Aid off.
Oh, should I just say it?
Say it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I should have to go for
He's stalling.
This is
oh
great
God.
radio.
Killing me, bro.
Chad is the biggest villain of this draft right now, just making us sweat.
I think I'll have to go for iconography here, and I'm gonna steal Darth Vader.
Damn it!
Darth
I think
Vader.
that is probably the clear number one. That to me is that's the one where when you think of Star Wars, that's the most synonymous image probably. Yeah, it's a great pick. I mean, you got that at second, which I'm actually surprised you did.
I can't believe it. I thought I was gonna. I thought I was getting it, and
because you had the sequel thing going, I was like,
Yeah.
it was a fake out the moment you started.
He's a big villain, yeah.
Yeah. Any thoughts on that pick, Matt? Do you regret not picking that?
No. I in fact, even on my villains list, Darth Vader is number 4. I love Darth Vader. He's one of my. He's obviously the iconic. And honestly, when we were talking about characters who were going 1-1, he was not. He was like third in the list of people I thought might go high. There are 2 others I thought would go 1-1 over him. Anyway, so that's not who I was thinking. But nor was I, just to clarify, thinking Han Solo was going to be the shattering one. I didn't think he would go 1-1 at all. I just had to get him first. Anyway, Darth Vader, great villain, great character. James Earl Jones, David Prowse, fantastic. Go on.
Yeah. Chris, what do you think of the pick?
Also a great one. Is Anakin Skywalker still as a villain? Can he be picked? I'm just kidding.
I would say he's under heroes.
Yeah, if anything.
It depends what movie you're talking about.
I would say he's off the board now. I would say he's off the board because
you think he's off the board
Vader.
even for heroes?
Oh my God, bro!
No, because
Wait,
this was established
he was a definite hero.
This was established from movie 1. Your father, Darth Vader, killed your father.
Let me say something real quick, since this was my pick. I want to take Darth Vader from Revenge of the Sith on, because that's when he becomes Darth Vader. Okay. So you guys can have the first 2.
I mean, I'll be honest.
It's first 2 and Clone Wars.
I don't care about that either.
Dylan, I actually ended up taking Anakin off my board, and actually I had replaced him at my point value with Han.
Yeah, usually I wouldn't want to bring up picks, but that was a good question, Chris, because I didn't even think of that. But yeah, I guess he's still eligible. I guess so. Yeah. Speaking of Zach, you have the 3rd pick. Are you gonna pick the brought up hero?
No, I'm really really torn, because I really keep thinking if I want to pick my supporting character, but to be honest, I'm a little afraid that we're gonna get into a Stitch debate. And I say that only because I don't really know. So
because he's human and on the poster. That's
yeah. No. I'm gonna hope for the best.
Wait, before you say that, Zach, let me shuffle this just so we can like keep the order straight up here.
Alright.
I'm gonna shuffle y'all just so we can be mindful
nice.
of. Hold on, there we go. That just keeps it easier for my brain. So Zach, go ahead.
I'm gonna really. Oh God. I'm so torn. Okay, I'm gonna go with my gut. My gut is telling me to do droid. I think that actually no. I'm not gonna go for droid. No, I'm hell bent. I need recency. I think Darth Vader was the obvious 1-1 pick for me. And now he's gone, and I'm sure that other villains will go, but I've got a good list of villains. But I think that this is the 1-1 pick for supporting. And if you disagree, that's okay, but it's Grogu.
Yeah. I thought he was gonna go high.
That's
my droids are all great picks. Grogu, or Baby Yoda, whatever the hell you want to say.
The child.
That's like when right now when you think Star Wars, there's a couple of things. You will always think Darth Vader, you will always think Luke, but like the recent fans will think the child, Grogu, Baby Yoda. He's everywhere. Even more so than another possible pick for something else. So I'm going with it. I'm going with my gut. If it comes back to bite me, so be it.
Yeah. And again, we're thinking about the graphic. It's going to play great on the graphic. People are going to see it and be like, "Oh, I voted for Draft 3 just because they love Baby Yoda, they love Grogu." What do you guys think of that pick?
Great pick.
I think that's a great pick.
Pretty solid.
There was no chance of a Stitch debate on that because he's the definition of the category. Like he's a supporting character and not human. I think it's a great pick. The recency is great. Yes, it's gonna look great on the graphic, but also like he with a character who doesn't say words at all and
so popular.
But it's not just that he's popular, but he means so much to that show. Like his the whole course of that show is dependent on that character being A, likable, and B, for you to believe the emotional connection between him and Din Djarin. So yeah, I think it's a great pick.
Thank you.
Yeah, I wanted it for sure.
Yeah.
We went 1-for-1, Chad.
There you go.
Pretty solid choice, honestly. I completely forgot about Baby Yoda, actually. I'm not even gonna lie.
Yeah. It's hard because these TV shows, they keep adding characters and characters.
Right. I will say, like, trying to make these lists was so, especially like background characters, because there's a lot of names I don't know, just a lot of faces. So I'm like, what about that one dude from Phantom Menace who like had that one thing during the pod race, but I don't even know what his name is. Like, there's
might be drafted later, so we'll see.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I was about to say his name.
Is he on my list? We'll see.
Ooh. Anyway, moving along, Chris, this is going to be your first pick, pick number 4 of the first round. What are you going with?
I'm going to go with Hero, and I'm between two. I guess I'm going to go ahead and I'm guessing this will be considered as a hero, but Leia Organa.
Yeah. Yep. That was my number 1 hero.
Damn it, mine too.
She was on my list.
Oh man, everyone's stealing some good picks.
You went
great pick.
Why do you love Leia so much, Chris?
Well, basically, I just think she's a popular go-to. She's got the, not to say that I'm pandering, but she's got the feminist element. Like, she's very much that, and just an icon, a pure icon. Like, there's so many scenes that people just look at and can remember, and her fashion on point.
I was about to say,
Absolutely.
like, yeah, icon in terms of the fashion, the buns, the bikini
Right.
scene. Even when she's older, she's really got such an iconic presence in those movies. Yeah, I like that pick a lot. Chad, you
I
were
mean,
talking about Leia.
yeah, I just was gonna say she chokes out Jabba. She's a badass.
Right.
Yeah,
You know, so yeah, I love her.
yeah. Matt, what do you think of that?
Played by the incomparable Carrie Fisher.
Oh,
One of my earliest crushes, and I know that's a bad thing too. We shouldn't just remember her in that way, but she had a profound effect on my life, is what I'm saying. I absolutely adore that character and Carrie Fisher. It's a great pick. She's on my list. She's pretty high on my list. So
Yeah.
excellent work.
Zach, thoughts?
I mean, it's again, she's kind of like what you said, Chris. I forgot I could put her on Hero, which I'm like,
Oh,
damn, what a good
And I was
pick.
going back and forth. Like,
It's-
she was my number one on Hero.
Mine as well.
She's a phenomenal. I mean, it's what we said. She's iconic, but not iconic. Like, if I can say it, we all know he's a pick at some point if someone wants him.
Right.
Luke's iconic, but Leia is a driving force. Luke is kind of like the thing that everything happens to. Leia is it.
she makes things happen. Also, when she shows up, like that's when everything is just
and
here we go.
Beautiful pick. Pick.
Yeah, it's a good pick. So now I get two in a row, and I'm thinking I have all of the obscure characters, but I have a feeling none of us are going to dive into that too soon because, like, you know, there's so many different, just little tiny characters. So I'm not going to go with that. I get on my first pick at a droid, but at the same time, I don't know if I should pick a villain because I feel like the villains after Darth Vader, there's one I really just want to get because I think it's like the next most iconic. And if I let them go, I'm not going to get them back. So I'm going to go with my first pick for round one, pick 5. I'm going to pick Darth Sidious, the Emperor, whatever you want to call him, because I think it's clearly the number 2 in terms of iconography and like overall franchise impact for villains after Darth Vader. If anything, he might even be number 1 in terms of like just the overall Skywalker saga because, you know, Darth Vader's story ends at 6. You know, we get more Emperor in episode 9. So I like the pick. He's not my favorite villain, but I think just in with the villains we have left, we have some good ones, but I think this is probably the next most iconic, and I didn't want to let this pass up because I know no matter what hero I'm going to get, there's still a bunch of heroes left on the board that I'll be happy getting, a bunch of supporting creatures, but with villains, it was like if I couldn't get Vader, I probably wanted the Emperor. So any thoughts on that pick? Is that a good pick?
Yeah.
Great pick.
Yeah.
Like you said, like he's kind of like the driving force of like the whole thing. I mean, the entire prequels are like him, basically, like just his manipulation and you know, just the scenes with him in Revenge of the Sith really make that movie. Without him, that movie is not as good as it is. And yet, I think that's a really good movie. Actually.
Well, you have to remember that the prequels, as you said, are him, and that's literally that he was the leader of both sides of the war. So that entire thing was orchestrated by him for a singular purpose, which he achieved, like through manipulation. At no point did he take his own step. Like, did he publicly take any steps toward becoming the emperor, the Galactic Emperor? All of that was through his to the things that he put in motion and that other people executed for him. He's a brilliant character and a brilliant choice.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on the Emperor? Anyone else?
I feel like we haven't done any devil's advocating, and I, not that it's like super important, but I thought that was one of the best things about the Disney draft is that we got to kind of see both sides and maybe like why we were not picking that person or why we have someone a little bit higher. So I'm going to devil's advocate it for a second, just to switch it up. I would almost argue, because Darth Sidious was on my list, but he was very low because Darth Sidious is one of the things that everyone hates about the sequel trilogy. And to me,
that's a good point.
I think on a graphic with fans of the originals, that's behind Darth Vader, he's it. With fans of the prequels, which I think for us sitting here is like our generation, like the prequels were what hooked some of us on Star Wars. I remember him, and that's like revenge. He is Revenge of the Sith. That is his movie. if you are not a lover of
Rise of Skywalker.
Rise of Skywalker, which many are not, the big deterrent. And he is a reason I stayed away, but I do think that overall, I don't think there's a much better second pick at a villain.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I also got to go with passion, and I actually do like Rise of Skywalker. I agree. I don't love the
we
idea
saw it
of
together. I
bringing
agree
back.
with you.
Yeah, you were crying. I was crying. I saw you, Zach.
It means
but yeah,
something to people.
Yeah.
It means something to a lot of people.
yeah. But I really do think, even with that movie, I think people will still judge him for the other 6. But
Yeah.
you make a good point. Some people might think that's.
I think that is a good point. I personally don't like Rise of Skywalker. I don't hate Rise of Skywalker. I think it's fine. But the reason I don't like it is because of exactly that. I think that if you don't want the stink of that movie on your graphic, you're going to want to put Darth Sidious and not Emperor Palpatine, because Palpatine is the word name that is associated with that more than the Darth portion.
And Sidious is a cooler name anyway.
It is way cool.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm happy with that pick. Moving on to round 2, though, I get the first pick of this round. I'm tempted to take a droid because no one has, and I have the free shot at the 1/1. The thing is, my favorite droid, I feel like I can get in the next round. So I'm gonna take a gamble. I'm gonna go for supporting creature because I think this category is also a little narrow, only because I think some creatures are more in the obscure category than the supporting, and I think there are only a handful of actual like supporting characters that are creatures that actually have like huge impacts on more than just 1 or 2 movies. And the one for me that was obvious is Chewbacca. He's my favorite character. He is a supporting character. He is the right-hand man, but he does still have a presence in a lot of those movies. He is my personal favorite Star Wars character, so I was actually surprised I would get him at 5, let alone 6. I do see an argument that, again, Rise of Skywalker, some people aren't happy with his story, the whole fake out death thing, give or take. But I think he's an iconic character. He's not one of the main 3, but I think he's my favorite of those, like that core Millennium Falcon crew. I think he definitely supports the main cast well, and is great in Episode 3 as well. So and Solo, I think the best parts of Solo's Star Wars story are his moments with Han and when they're connecting for the first time. I couldn't let a 2 rounds pass and not pick my favorite Star Wars character if he was still on the board. I could have strategically picked probably the number 1 droid, but I have a feeling my personal favorite droid will get around to me. So, and there are so many heroes still on the board that, like, even if I get the last pick at hero, I'm still going to get a good one. So I think Chewie is the clear number 1 for me for supporting characters. So
yeah, can I say that I was shocked that you didn't pick him number 1. Also, that you considered not picking him in the second round when you had the first thing. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, but he's like your favorite, not just your favorite Star Wars character, but one of your favorite characters, right?
Yes. But
time.
Also, I'm thinking about the graphic. I'm thinking, well, if I pass on this hero or this droid, is it going to work against me on the graphic? But I think Chewie's going to work fine on the graphic.
Oh, Chewie's going to be great on the graphic. Yeah.
But you never know how the audience thinks. I don't know if they love Chewie as much as me. I mean, my love for Chewie actually stemmed from my mom. She was, her favorite. She called her Chewie her boyfriend when she was like an elementary schooler and preschooler. She would like, she'd be like, "Yo, look at a picture of my boyfriend. It was Chewie," and all the kids would like get a kick out of it. So like that love was passed on to me. And not that I dated Chewie. I didn't have the pleasure, but no, Chewie's a great character, and I think I owe a lot of that love.
That would have been weird after he dated your mom.
Right, yeah, no, you can't do that. You can't date someone who dated your mom.
But aside from the shock that you considered that, and that's just from me knowing you, I understand the graphic thing, but that feels like for me if we were doing a draft and Batman was on the board and I didn't pick that first, like, but besides all that, Chewie is. Again, it's one of those things, just like with that I was talking about with Grogu, that like for a character who you can't understand, who doesn't say words that you know, for them to have such a profound effect on the public and the moviegoer, and everybody loves Chewie. Like he is one of the most iconic characters. Anybody, even people who don't like Star Wars, can look at that character, look at Chewbacca, and know his name and what he's from. So that's a great pick.
Yeah,
and
Chris, what are your thoughts on Chewbacca?
A good pick. I was actually going to go for him.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oh no, it's fine. But yeah, he's a character that everyone knows. He's super iconic.
Yeah, Chad, how do you feel? Because I know you're his namesake right now.
Right.
So
Well, I was gonna say, like, my only thing is that when I was kind of thinking about him, like, I would have maybe thought about him as a main hero. I don't. I think
that's
this
why.
is
Yeah, that's why I
also
specified.
why people put him in the supporting creature category. I think is the same reason why this motherfucker didn't get a medal.
Yeah.
So,
and I did specify on with the chat with all of us beforehand, like anyone who could fit in either or go for the most specific. So like, there's another one that's also a creature that I think also could be argued as a main, but I think, it's just category.
kind of Grogu as well. So I'm just joking around.
Well,
Yeah,
that's
no, you could.
and that's why earlier on I said I think this is the Sitch debacle because I think you're right. I think there is an argument to make, like when someone is I think this is also the big thing about Star Wars. As we talk about it, so much of Star Wars, there aren't many characters that just like come on for a hot second for like a little bit of plot and then disappear for like an hour before they come back into the story.
Mm-hmm.
So like Chewbacca doesn't have as much quote unquote importance to the story while he's present, but he's present the entire time.
Right.
So like,
and then when he does have his moments, he really shines.
Right. So how do you weigh that out? And I think you're right, Dylan. I think it's about calling it what it is. He supports the main members of his team.
Yeah. No, I agree with Chad though, and the point that like he would be if there was no like supporting creatures, if it was just hero and supporting, I would put him in hero, but because he's more creature than human.
You could also play a little bit more of a strategy there and use him as the supporting if you have a hero in mind that's not him.
Right. And I think there are a lot of heroes left on the board.
I think he fits in. I think he fits in both categories, so it doesn't really. But for me, like it's the same thing with Grogu, is that he's a supporting character because he is one of the main core characters, but he will always be a supporting character to Han Solo. So he is a supporting charger, and he is not a human. No, I'm talking about Chewbacca.
Oh, I thought you meant Grogu.
Yeah, Chewbacca. He will always be a supporting character to Han Solo. I mean, even when he's not, he is in the holiday special. Even there, that was about his family. And he was a supporting character to Han Solo.
Supporting somebody.
So,
and I'm going to tell you right now, Matt, if you take someone from the holiday special, you'll be my hero. But also, I think there's a very slim chance you'll win this graphic. But we'll see.
I'm not going to say one of them is not on my list. We'll see if I get to that point.
All right.
You've already taken my number 2 supporting creature, so who knows how the rest of this is going to go. But yes, I think he absolutely fits in this role, and I would not have argued with him as main hero either. I would have maybe argued with Grogu as main hero, though. I think that he is a supporting creature. That is his role.
Either way, that is
carried
where
around.
he lands now. So let's move on now, Chris, to your second pick. You already have your hero, so you can pick from any of the other 4 categories. What would you like?
I'm just going to go straight down. I'm going to go to villain next. And I think I'm going to go with Boba Fett.
Nice. Good pick.
Same reason for Leia, like just an icon. Not my favorite character, I will say that. I remember before I even watched like the original Star Wars movies, I heard so much about this character, like Boba Fett. I was like, oh my God, he's so cool. He's so cool. I was like, oh, it's going to be great when he shows up. Like, what's going to happen? And he shows up and he has a jetpack and that's kind of the sum of it. It feels like, I don't know. He didn't wow me, but people love him. So
yeah, it's a good strategic pick, especially with the show being out now. He's more in the limelight, in the spotlight for sure.
Boba Fett's one. Go ahead. I was just going to say, Boba Fett's one of those characters that doesn't have a ton of screen time, but it's so iconic anyways, even though he dies in the Sarlacc pit or whatever.
Right.
Dies.
Right. Okay. Dies, sort of. He was Daryl Dixon from The Walking Dead before Daryl was like
he is. God, that's the best way to put that.
He is a super cool character, but if you ask what's so cool about him, it's like you can really only mention his demeanor. And that's pretty much the only thing that makes him cool. Like he looks cool and he acts cool. Yeah. If you ask me to tell you something he did that was cool, although Book of Boba Fett, or was it not Book of Boba Fett, Mandalorian? in one scene proved why, like, made up for years of him being cool but not showing it by that one fight scene that he had.
Yeah.
Badass. I didn't actually finish his show. Has anyone watched it all? Is it
I
good?
have. Yeah.
I
Okay.
haven't seen any of it.
Okay. It's fine.
Yeah, I was not hooked by that first.
Is it-
As soon as he, the first episode when he crawls out of the Sarlacc pit, I was like,
It ends
Is it
better than it
Mandalorian
starts.
1.5?
It is. It ends better
Okay.
than it starts because the ending is basically or the second half is basically Mandalorian season 2.5. So
Yeah,
Doesn't-
but I was gonna say for Chris, honestly, without him, there's no Mandalorian.
Mm.
Like, without Boba Fett, you don't get everything that we've gotten. So I think that he's a great graphic because he's an old favorite, as well as like people see Boba Fett's armor and they think, oh, the reason for Mandalorian, like
Right.
like that is he is not Mandalorian by birth, just like Din Djarin, but like he is the reason that we have everything about it, like from the Clone Wars, from everything. So I think it's a great pick.
great. So moving on now, Zach, you get to take your second pick. You already have your supporting character, so you can get a hero, villain, droid, or your obscure pick right now. It's all up to you.
I'm really pushing it on my villain because no one's picked them yet, and I'm like, I know Chad's not going to pick him because
Well, Chad already has his villain.
Chad
and
has
I
his
have
villain.
mine, and Chris has his. So it's
I'm
just you
gonna
or Matt.
hope that Matt is not going to pick him, but he's got 2 picks in a row. But I am going to go. I feel like the most iconic villains have been picked. The most iconic droids have not yet been picked. And so I need to go. And Dylan, I'm really sorry.
Oh no.
Because I think you and I are thinking similar. There's a clear 1-to-1 droid pick. And it is R2-D2, but that's not who I'm going to pick. I'm going to pick BB-8.
Of course, that was the one I thought I would get back to me. Damn it. Okay.
I love R2-D2. I'm really going for the recency right now. BB-8, R2 is undoubtedly the droid. BB-8 kickstarted the reboot of Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like when Force Awakens trailer aired, that was what everyone talked about.
He was the
damn
image.
old droid. And he's still everywhere. He's in the parks. He's the reason you can build droids in the parks. He's everywhere.
He's on my Christmas tree.
Like he is
He's on my Christmas tree.
There
He
you
is
go.
to this modern day Star Wars fan base. He's their droid. And I just think that on a graphic that's going to look great. I think there's a clear 1-to-1. Have him, love him dearly. I think BB-8 might just be a better choice for me.
Yeah, I'm mad you
Yeah.
took it because I thought there would be 2 droids that would probably get picked before BB-8, and I was like, maybe I'll get him in the 3rd round. I am glad I still went Chewbacca over him though, because I do still feel okay with all the droids left on the board. There's so many, but like, man, I'm upset. He's my boy. You know, Zach. I love BB-8.
It's that
He's my
picture of
boy.
you at college holding BB-8 in your arms.
Yes,
I thought about it.
little
You said it, and I went, "Oh, I'm about to ruin his whole day."
It's okay.
I was like,
It's okay.
"Oh, I feel so bad." But
yeah, let's hear from the rest of you. Like, what do you think about BB-8? Is he a worthy 1st round droid pick? draft
Phenomenal.
pick?
That's a strong choice. I
Okay.
admittedly didn't have him on my list, but yeah.
Nice.
not on my list, but as far as being iconic, if we're talking the graphic, what's going to look on the graphic, yeah, he's great, and yeah, he was one of the he was the first thing that gave us hope for the sequel trilogy. Like he was the first thing that people went, okay, they're obviously doing something. Like
Just that shot of him rolling across the sand.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, just
he was
perfect.
the first thing that kind of gave us hope that was new. Because that trailer had the Chewbacca we're home thing, like it had that, but that was old. He was the first new thing that gave us hope for the sequel trilogy. So I think it's a great pick.
Yeah. BB-8 was like an icon, like right out of the gate. He's so adorable, just his attachment to Poe is really cute, and like him like learning to befriend Finn and Rey, and then just like when he like doesn't he like bust out like a lighter at some point?
Yeah.
He does.
It's like
The
really
thumbs up,
adorable. Yeah. So there's just a lot with him, and then he's like also like when he's like kind of just like flying around in the ship, like, he's not strapped in. Just so many great scenes with him.
I gotta give Chris some love for a second. Both of my picks, Chris is gone. I didn't have him on my list, but that's a great pick. I didn't have him on my list, but that was a great pick, and I just love it. I'm a big fan. Chris
Gotta be honest.
It's true.
Yeah, moving right along now to pick 4 of the second round. Chad, you're up again. You've already taken your villain. You can have anything else from the rest of the categories. What are you going to go with?
Well, I know I'm picking right after Matt picks 2. Because there's one that I want that I'm not going to say what category it's in, and I don't know what Matt's gonna pick here, but I want to go droid. There is a droid that I really like a ton. That's not like of the main bunch or whatever, but I feel like since I have Vader, like I want to vary it quite a bit, but then I feel like if I'm like I'm trying to like play to the poll and stuff like that, I feel like I gotta, but also there's other droids that I love that are more like icons basically. I think I'm just gonna go droid. I think I'm gonna take R2D2.
Damn it.
Yeah, man.
This is like twice now where Chad's been like, I'm gonna kind of go against the popular pick, and then goes for like the best of that category. Like,
right.
Wow.
I mean, it's just the thing where I'm just like I feel it calling to me almost. It's like he's not going to last much longer.
He would
I definitely respect Zach taking BB-8 because that's definitely a heart pick, but it's also he's one of the best in the new thing, so it's going to get a lot of the new votes. But then just the classic R2D2. I mean, he's in like every freaking movie. So, it's just like he is, if it's not Vader that's, synonymous with Star Wars, it's R2D2. So, he's just one of the best characters ever. And, just the look of him is iconic. Same with Vader. So, yeah. I'm going OG trilogy.
I think like it's hard to decide like am I going to go with my head or my heart, but I think a lot of these picks kind of mend and mold into one, and I think that's
this is
one
both.
where it's like it's like how do you not love R2, right, but at the same time like how do you not think R2 is one of the most iconic figures in Star Wars? It's like it's a good pick for both heart and head.
He's also cute like when he wobbles and makes noises and beeps.
Can anyone do the R2 scream? Can anyone do it? Actually, I don't know if anyone
my
should
kids
do
are
it
asleep
with the microphone. Maybe we'll see if anyone watching.
And it was not.
If anyone watching has their best R2 scream and wants to comment down below, well, I guess you can't comment a video, but like wants to post on the Facebook group. This is a good way to bring people to the Facebook group. Wants to post a video of them doing their best R2 scream, and points if you do it in the most ridiculous way possible.
Can we say we will play the best one on the next episode of Draft Day?
Yes.
I like that idea.
Yeah. Cool.
That Chad, when you say he wasn't going to be around for much longer, he wasn't. He was going to be the very next pick. So I was so hoping, because we had talked about it beforehand, like playing with my heart, and I was really hoping you'd play with your heart. I'm also hating that you have Darth Vader and R2D2 now. Because
that's me.
Your graphics gonna look real good. But when Kenny Baker died, I posted on Facebook. I'm kind of known for posting eulogies for people that I really love, like what they meant to me, on Facebook. And when Kenny Baker died, I posted one on thing, and in it I said he played probably the most universally beloved character of all time, because no matter, he may not even be your favorite, he may not even be your favorite Star Wars character, you may like a different droid more than him, whatever. I don't know anyone who hates R2D2. Everybody loves R2D2. Like he is probably the most universally beloved character in all of fandom. And it's a great pick, and I'm very jealous. I'm very upset right now.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I mean, there's that
That's
moment of Force Awakens when when BB-8 actually pulls off the little like thing, and R2's just standing there, and he hasn't like come back alive yet, and that gave me chills in the theater, you know, because I was
Yeah.
never a huge R2 kid. Like I was always like R2's great, but I was never like a huge fan like I was some of these other characters. But in that moment in the theater, I realized how much of a fan I was when that moment happened. I was like, oh yeah. Okay, yeah, that meant something to me just seeing that, because he's also synonymous with the hero of the franchise. So, yeah, really, really good pick, Chad.
I have a
Thanks.
very vivid image of me at like 5 years old. This is a quick story, I promise. Flipping through a Toys R Us magazine. You remember magazines?
Yeah.
And seeing for the first time this huge 2-page fold out of a remote controlled R2D2 drink carrier.
Oh.
Oh,
I remember thinking in my head, I was like, there is nothing that you could convince 5-year-old me more that like if a kid had this, they'd need nothing else. And I
because
asked,
that's what he does in Return of the Jedi. So
literally, and I asked for that. I asked for it for Christmas for 3 years straight, and I never got it. And then they discontinued it. So like that's like
it's a sad story.
I had not even really watched anything besides Phantom Menace at that point, and I was like, how could you not? How could you not want that? So like that's what he means to people. It's crazy.
I'm so old. But also,
yeah, I was gonna say,
sorry.
Matt, you can say what you're gonna say, and then you could also transition to your next pick.
Oh yes. I don't remember what I was going to say. He caught me off guard with how old I am.
Okay.
Well, Dylan and Zach were like 2 when the Phantom Menace came out. So
Hey! I was 5.
Yeah, Zach's a little older than me, but
I thought you guys were the same age.
I was 6. No, I wasn't. I was like 2. No, I was 4. I don't remember.
I was not even a year old. Actually, no, I was
99?
probably-
99 was
99.
Ancient,
99.
literally.
I was 5.
Sorry, y'all. Anyway, Matt, what is your next pick? This is the last pick of round 2, and you're gonna get 2 in a row, so make them count.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just gonna pick Han Solo again.
Oh,
No, not really.
evil.
You're gonna
Han
pick
Solo
Alden.
for
You're gonna pick
villain.
Alden Ehrenreich. You
Oh,
already picked Harrison Ford. Now you're gonna pick Alden Ehrenreich. Got it.
No. I would like to mention that earlier Zach said there was no devil's advocating it, and I would like to say on my very first pick, everybody's like, "Oh, well, that's a bad pick."
No,
But
it's not a
Great
bad pick. Just not what we thought was going to be the one overall. But Matt, I will ask while I'm on the subject. Do you want me to put Harrison Ford or Alden Ehrenreich on the graphic for Han Solo? It's your pick.
Harrison Ford.
Harrison Ford.
yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
well,
come
I
on.
didn't know.
You knew.
I'm kidding. I knew.
That'd be like, do you want me to put like Ewan McGregor or Alec Guinness? Actually, I lied. That's very different.
That's a tough one.
I like
That
That's
is
a
a
tough
tough
one,
one.
actually.
A lot, actually,
I lied.
yeah.
That is a tougher call, actually.
Or Hayden Christensen in like Darth Vader, like yellow eyes, or Darth Vader.
I'm excited for Hayden's return. Actually, I'm super excited for that.
I think that there's a good chance that we would want Hayden after this upcoming series
We'll
happens.
find out soon.
Yeah, we'll find out.
All right, Matt, what's your pick?
Okay. Okay, I'm gonna go with supporting creature only because R2D2 is my last really well-known character that is at the top of any of my lists. So, and I know that's gonna suffer on the graphic, but I don't care. I'm playing with my heart. I'm gonna go supporting character on my next pick, and this character is actually probably going to be a surprise also because this person is not in any of the live action movies.
Okay.
They are one of the only Jedi to show to truly act like a Jedi in the series, at least in the Clone Wars version of the series, and that is Ahsoka Tano, which is what.
Oh, I'm
She's
gonna
not-
veto that real fast.
I would say
What
that is
hero?
a main
I'm
hero.
gonna veto that.
Right?
She is.
No?
She's a supporting character and not human.
She is.
What is-
whoa! I'll use my veto if we want, because she is a pick for me on hero. Because arguably in the Clone Wars, she does some of the most heroic action in the entire series.
Okay. But we're talking the people who chose Grogu and Chewbacca are saying that.
Well, what creature is she? Is she?
She's
Alien.
Togruta.
Yeah, honestly, I think it could count as I think it's one of those either or categories, and
I think you did say alien in the parentheses.
yeah, I think it counts because there's
Outside,
another
yeah.
alien supporting creature that I'm thinking of
but-
that would probably be supporting. Yeah.
I'm going hard on this veto because, to full disclosure, she was the first hero I thought of. She was immediately my hero pick.
I think she fits in both, just like Chewbacca does.
Here's why she is my hero pick.
Okay.
Girl's about to get an entire series dedicated to her.
Yeah,
And they don't give it would be like picking
Boba Fett.
well, here's
No.
my counteract to
But
that
Boba
though.
Fett is a villain.
But that's my thing is like he is a villain that is getting his own
I guess that's true. It's a villain,
show,
yeah.
just like she is a creature that is getting her own show. So I honestly think she could belong in either or.
I think villain. I'm very strongly about this because I want her so bad. I think the villain, but like hero and villain exists on the same plane, whereas like supporting character to me says she's a little bit under, but like she is Clone Wars final season. She's the hero of that final season.
She is. I mean, yeah, a good portion of it. She's a hero of that final season. I would agree with that. But for the majority of that, she is the supporting character to Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah, I also gotta because Mandalorian, she's definitely supporting, but in Clone Wars, she is kind of supporting, becomes more of a lead. I think this is one of those case by case basis.
We have
where,
to vote on it, man.
I know. I'm
Vote-
stating
the veto has to-
my thought is like when I made this category, I thought like the heroes that weren't human could fit into the creatures category, like a Chewbacca, like another pick that we haven't mentioned yet that I don't want to spoil right now that might bear resemblance to Grogu. So I wasn't thinking of them as the heroes because there was a separate category for creatures, so that way we could just kind of spread the wealth more so than like supporting lead. But I don't know. So I'm gonna say I'm a yes for Matt. I think it should be a valid pick because she is an alien creature, and he did make a case for her being a supporting. So that's one vote nay for Zach, one vote yes for me. So to veto, we need both Chad and Chris to say that Ahsoka does not count as a supporting creature and counts as a hero. Let's start with Chris. What is your opinion? Do you believe it counts as a pick for supporting creature?
I was almost swayed by the fact that she is getting her own show, but I'm gonna go ahead and say that she could go as a supporting creature. The Chewbacca thing is pulling me back towards her being a supporting creature.
Cool. And Chad,
I would have said the same exact thing.
All right, so yeah, it wouldn't matter.
I mean, I think she's probably one of those that puts her in like both categories. To be honest, because I mean, she is an alien. I don't know. It's weird calling things creatures sometimes. It feels a little.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
A question just to clarify.
Yeah.
If I had picked her as my hero, would we be having the same conversation?
No.
It would have been fine. I would have been.
It would have been fine. She fits in both camps, I would say. Just like Chewbacca could have been fit in both, and just like you were saying about Grogu could fit in both.
I
But
think
you got BB-8.
Yeah, I think it could go into the most specific, and I think
I strongly
Ahsoka,
disagree, but I mean, I'll just
the way I think of it also is like Han Solo. The most specific he is a hero. The most specific Chewie is he's a hero, but he's also a creature. So like he kind of goes into that next tier. Just like Ahsoka is a hero, but she's also an alien, so she kind of goes in the next tier. Just like Grogu could be argued as a hero of the Mandalorian or a sidekick, but either way, he is a creature. So creature is the most specific. Just like the villain.
I mean, hold on. Yoda's an alien, but he is not a supporting.
Exactly. Don't give away so many picks. No, but yeah, but that's the thing is Yoda would belong in creatures because that is the most specific tier, if that makes sense. So it's like like Boba Fett. I think villain is more specific than creature. You know what I mean? Even though he's not a creature, but that's how I was kind of thinking of it. But again, that's why we have vetoes because if you know you can sway the side.
Oh.
I am sorry you lost it, Zach, the pick, but I would like to hear you still talk about it. I mean, Matt, you've talked a little bit about it. Yeah, Matt.
I haven't talked yet much because it was immediately vetoed. Here's the thing, Zach. I understand because last month I went hard on Stitch, so I get I get
It's
what
fine.
you're feeling right now. And it was not because I wanted him, just because I disagreed. But okay. That being said, Ahsoka Tano, and I don't want to spoil Clone Wars the series too much, but just a little bit of information from that series is that at one point she stops being a Jedi because she no longer trusts. They basically turned on her, and she no longer trusts them. She stops, and then she leaves the show, and then during the final season she comes back, and that's when Order 66 happens. And anybody who's seen it knows what happens here is that basically the last 3 episodes or however many take place during the third act of Revenge of the Sith, and it's beautiful, and it makes that movie better. But what she does during that is show that not only did she deserve to be a Jedi, but she is among the very best to ever be Jedi, especially during the Clone Wars. Because and to prove that, all you have to do is look at how she responded to Order 66 versus how someone as highly regarded as Yoda responded to Order 66. When Order 66 happened, Yoda immediately lobbed off the heads of 2 clone troopers that were next to him. Without question, did not try anything else, immediately just murked them. Ahsoka spent episodes trying to get away from them without killing them, and to try to save them, actively save their lives, as well as Darth Maul's life. She is among the very best of the Jedi, and I am excited that her show is coming. So.
I think it's a good pick, Matt. I think it's a good pick, but for those people who haven't watched the series, I think that could work against you if they're not as familiar with her, if they've only seen the movie.
Playing from the heart, really.
Could be a double-edged sword. Yeah, Zach, you did want to pick her as your hero, so like I would like you to chime in on why you do love her as a character, even if you couldn't get her. But then again, you could have taken her round 1 or 2, so you did have the ability.
100%. I mean, I think Ahsoka Tano made me fall in love with Star Wars again. That is, to me, she's the quintessential. She's like Matt said, she's one of the very best of the Jedi because she doesn't believe herself to be what the Jedi think they should be. She leads in the idea of bringing balance, but not bringing balance in this like what the dark must exist while the light exists, and yada yada yada. She believes in you can be powerful while being compassionate, and that is what the Jedi don't. They don't thrive on that. You look at me. You look at the purple Jedi, the purple lightsaber, and that is a very there is no other way than what we've got, and she's the opposite, and that's why that's to me why. Like, that is true. And again, it's the last thing I'll say about it. That's why I thought of her first as my hero, because she is everything about a hero that people look up to. Right. Because of that, she ranks so high. She, like I said, she made me fall in love with Star Wars.
I agree. The purple Jedi is very authoritarian, and she is very. I don't want to say humanist because that's there's aliens and stuff, but she's very compassionate, and she cares about life. Like, and I feel, and that to me is what a Jedi should be. But during the Clone Wars, they became soldiers. They stopped being protectors, and they became soldiers. And she never stopped being a protector, and that's why she's. I mean, it's not spoiling anything, but like that's why she's still alive. Yeah. She's literally getting her own series, and she's been in a million ones.
This actually reminds me to ask before we move on, Matt, do you want the animated on the graphic, or do you want Rosario Dawson?
I would like the animated, particularly from the final season of Clone Wars.
And then just because we want to keep moving it along, let's segue into your next pick. You get the first pick of round 3.
This is a little hard because my other ones are kind of they're also kind of I'm not going to win this poll. I don't really care.
Okay.
Because it's more about the passion of Star Wars for me than about winning it. But so I'm going to go with my most well-known probably next, and that is my droid. And I'm going to go with Alan Tudyk as K2SO.
Another good sleeper pick that I was thinking about.
That is a good sleeper pick.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I think that Rogue One is a good movie. I enjoy that movie. I feel about the same way about it as I do Solo, which is that I hate the first act, but I love. But the two acts 2 and 3 are incredible, and I really love them. So that's kind of how I feel about it. I'm not over the moon about it. K2SO, however, keeps me like every time I watch it keeps me entertained. I love every second that a K2SO is on screen, and a lot of it has to do with how much I love Alan Tudyk, but also he's just a great character, very funny. Has incredible moments in those films. I just really like that character.
Yeah. Anyone else have any thoughts on K2SO? I mean, I just think it's a great pick.
I mean, for me though, it's just weird because like every single time I watch Rogue One, I think it gets worse for me every time I watch it because it just like has no story or character development. But that's beside the point. I think Matt has a good point about K2SO being a highlight, but for me personally, I wouldn't put him at the top. But I think a lot of people do love Rogue One and they do love K2SO, so I think it's a good pick.
Yeah. Chris, any thoughts on K2SO?
He was my safety. That's a really good pick.
Nice. Zach, any thoughts?
Hadn't thought about him. Upset I didn't. Glad I had BB-8.
Definitely one of the toughest of those losses in that movie too. All right, so now moving on, Chad, you get your third pick. You have picked a villain and a droid. You still have a spot for a supporting creature, a hero, and an obscurity pick. What would you like?
Well, I mean, I'm kind of on a roll with this.
Oh yeah, no, you got to do it,
bro.
I'm trying to think if I could sweep through and just do it.
You have to do it. I feel like you should throw out your old playbook and now it's this one, and you have to do it.
Are you guys on the same page of what I am?
There are two picks, I think, but
no, don't say too much.
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I'm thinking supporting creature thing.
Oh, not where I thought you were.
That's where I was thinking.
Okay.
Not hero.
Yeah.
And for supporting creature thing, I'm gonna go Yoda.
Damn it! That's exactly where I thought you were going because
because I disagree with whatever
Vader
Zach was saying before. Because Yoda is definitely a supporting character, in Empire Strikes Back, he supports the main hero. I do think that he's basically a shitty character in the prequels because he's the one that turns Anakin the other way. So, but I think that makes him a very complex character that a lot of people still adore and love and put on top of their Christmas trees like I do. So
that's a great pick.
Yoda.
I will if I may if I may real quick. I would disagree that he's not a shitty character in the prequels only because I think he is a very different character from the ones we get.
Complex character.
He's a complex character. I agree with that. He actually before a character that's so beloved, I think I sometimes think about how maybe some of the genius of the prequels was unintentional. And maybe we see it like almost apocryphal. We see it in retrospect as a certain thing, but I think that he perfectly demonstrates what a good person in a time of war becomes. And it's the same thing that I said before about it's the comparison I made to Ahsoka Tano. The way he reacts. That I don't know that Yoda later in life would react that way. It's just that's who he became, and because that's what the Jedi Order had become. And I think that he perfectly illustrates what happened in that, whether that was an intentional or what it's become. I don't know. Also, I love him in the movie that my second favorite Star Wars movie that I will not talk about because the internet will burn me to the ground.
I love that movie too, and
that
also
scene involves
Yeah.
a lot of burning too. A lot of burning in that scene. So.
yes, I just wanted to throw out there that I just hate the way he treats little baby Anakin. But then I think also he definitely learns from that mistake later on. So
I was also got to say his
Definitely.
fighting style in the prequels though is pretty freaking awesome. It's pretty freaking awesome. Even if you don't love him as a character, like love him as a what he's doing.
he's
you can
great
love,
in
you love
Empire and
his
Return of the Jedi.
the way he
for sure.
just tears people apart with that little flying around, almost like he's flying, just
Flipping
jumping around.
around.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Chris, any thoughts on Yoda? I mean, it's Yoda.
Yeah, I mean, it's perfect. I would have thought more hero, but I guess not. Yeah, supporting creature. Yeah,
I think
it's
it counts
just-
for both.
I just can't believe it's the third round and Yoda's now just coming up. I'm like, wow, we really let him go 2 rounds without Yoda getting picked. It just seems so obvious. But I guess
Chad is really
Zach-
reaping the benefit of us
Yeah.
sidestepping a bunch of these.
go with the heart picks. But Zach went with Baby Yoda, so maybe that was just kind of like a, you didn't want too many Yoda in the upper half of the graphic, so maybe it'll play better a little lower. Moving on now to Zach. Zach, your third pick in round 3. You have your supporting creature, you have your droid, you still have a hero and villain out there that you can take, and an obscure character if you'd like to take your third pick.
I really can't believe that I had decided, you know what I'll do in my first and second rounds? The droid and this creature. I can't believe that I did that.
Those are great picks.
I know. Ahsoka's a big hit. So I'm going to, but you know what? Ironically enough, even though she's a big hit, I think my hero won't leave me too much in the lurch. It's Obi-Wan Kenobi, baby.
Oh, damn it. I was about to say,
man.
well,
Which one?
there it is.
I cannot let him go another round. Obi-Wan Kenobi is, first of all, it is the name and probably the most iconic line from A New Hope. Everyone knows it. It is the Luke, I am your father of A New Hope. And to me, Obi-Wan Kenobi, especially now.
Say the line.
Are you not going to say it?
What?
You gotta
Say the line.
Beating around the bush.
I said, oh, sorry. Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope.
There it
is.
I thought I said it
line.
at the beginning. Oh, no. But he is just like Leia is the icon who says it.
Oh.
His name shows up, and then immediately he is the kickstart of everything. So much so that they said, what can we do in a prequel? Explore Obi-Wan Kenobi. And then what did they say? We want Ewan McGregor back, and we're going to give him his own series. I think Obi-Wan Kenobi is one of my favorite Star Wars characters because I think truthfully, maybe not A New Hope wise, but like once you get to those prequels, and maybe it's just because I grew up with them.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan Kenobi is probably the most relatable. He's basically, I mean, Ewan McGregor at that point is obviously young, older than a teenager, but in canon, he's a young kid who is learning from this incredible master. And then all of a sudden they're just like, and here you go, the fate of the world. And what would we all do when given the fate of the world? Hold it like an egg, try not to break it. And watching him give such a beautiful performance while channeling Alec Guinness is masterful.
Yeah.
It's one of the reasons I can still comfortably go back again and again and rewatch the prequels to watch him grow with every single episode. And
Good
just that iconic fight at the end
Zach,
of Revenge.
do you want the prequel Obi-Wan Kenobi then on the graphic? You want Ewan?
Can I get back to you on that?
Prequel.
I think it's gonna be Ewan, but I just like I gotta feel my heart. I think given what's going on right now, it's probably
Yeah. It's a great pick. That I honestly thought you were gonna take the more obvious one, and I was gonna be able to get him in the next pick. I was so excited. I was like, they let Obi-Wan slip to me, but they did not because you were a smart man. Any other thoughts on Obi-Wan? Anyone else?
He was my number 2 pick on Heroes.
Yeah.
He's an incredible hero. He is the there's a reason they are giving him a spinoff. It's not just Ewan McGregor. It's not just whatever. It's because he is as you said, he's the catalyst. He is the heart of the entire series, in my opinion. Like he is the the prequels show him grow as a Jedi, and then he has to basically embrace his destiny, basically, which is to watch this child who is going to be the savior of the galaxy, basically.
Yeah.
And you should use the Obi-Wan Kenobi from Rebels, which looks really, really bad because that style is really good, but when they show legacy characters, it's really bad.
It really is. You're right.
The style is cool, but anytime they show someone from another thing, you're like,
well, like Ahsoka in Rebels, you're just like.
And Yoda? Yoda is.
Why did they melt your face like that?
Chad Baca, any thoughts on Obi-Wan?
I mean, yeah, Obi-Wan is a fantastic pick. I'd go Ewan personally, but I mean, Alec Guinness is iconic as well, despite the fact that I think I heard that he actually didn't want to do it. But
Nope,
it is what it is. But yeah, he's the iconic teacher. Yeah. What else is there to say? I'm very excited for the new show coming out.
It's gonna be so good.
Great name, Kenobi. There you go.
Chris, any thoughts?
Well, Zach, this is the first one that I had him on my list. So no, but yeah, he's lit. He's iconic. He's what you think. So
so Chris, you do have the next pick. So what would you like to pick as your third pick?
I am going to just continue down the road here. I'm gonna go with my droid. I get my first pick. And this is one that, he's popular and whatnot, but he's just one of my personal favorites. C-3PO.
Yeah,
nice.
that's
nice.
a good one.
Mostly because he stood out as a character that I think as a kid I identified with. Like, you have a friend who's just getting you constantly into adventures where you're just like, I'm a butler. What are you doing? I'm just, but yeah, no, I love him.
Yeah, I mean that's as iconic as they come too, just in terms of images. Like I'm honestly surprised he was the fourth droid picked. I would have thought he would at least be top 3.
I thought I was going to lose him. Just.
Yeah. Any thoughts on C-3PO? I love C-3PO too. I know some people consider him a little annoying, but I think that is his character. He's kind of funny that way. Like it works for the comedy. But yeah. Any thoughts, Chad? You look like
that's exactly what it is. Is that he's one of the funniest characters in the movie? Like just even like Return of the Jedi when they go knock on that big door and then he's like, "Oh, they're not home. Let's go." And just stuff like that. Just like our lot in life is to suffer and stuff like that. She has like these crazy like lines and stuff, and even I think on Waze they had like C-3PO like talk to you and tell you directions and say lines like that. So it's just people want him in their car. I don't think many people actually think he's that annoying. I think he's a great pick, great droid.
I agree.
It's hilarious.
Good. Sorry.
I was just gonna very quickly. He is a great part of the prequels.
Yeah.
He goes unnoticed in the prequels for far too long. And I think he probably has the coolest origin. He's Anakin's butler droid.
Yeah.
Literally, and now, like, again, when I first watched, no connection. Going back, you're like, oh my God, his own butler is literally one of the catalysts that ends his villainy. It's beautiful. It's amazing. Great pick.
Right. I think this is a great pick. He is on my list. And the thing about him is and he's very funny and I think he is at his best when he is being the further away from being human he is, the better he is. I think that toward the end, especially in Rise of Skywalker, they gave him some sappiness and they gave him some like feelings, like not literal feelings, but he's got that I'm just taking one last look at my friends thing. Like to me, that is the worst case. Like that's him at his worst. I think when he's at his best is when he's neurotic and he is the comedy relief. And here's the thing about him also is that he not only handled his own character and everything like that, but he was the translator for R2-D2. So everything that R2-D2 said was said through him. almost everything. If you're there.
And
Also,
I also believe Anthony Daniels, of all these characters and all the voice actors, I think he's done the most projects outside of the main movies and TV shows. Like he's done the video games, he's done all the little droid TV shows. Like he's everywhere. He really is committed to this role so much. Like this is synonymous with his as well.
Oh yeah, definitely. And when they announced the prequels originally, for I was old enough to know this. When they originally had announced the prequels, they had George Lucas had said the only characters who are going to go through all 6 movies are C-3PO and R2-D2. Like that was a selling point, was that they were like, these are the only characters that bridge the gap fully. But also, I forgot what I was going to say. To I don't know. Go on.
It's okay. No, it'll come back to you eventually, and you still have 2 more picks. If it comes up, you can talk about it. What's up, Chad?
I just want to say there is a reason that the Ewoks worship C-3PO. Boom.
That's true.
Oh,
Great
I
pick.
remember.
Matt
It
remembers.
was to what Zach was saying about him in the prequels. That's one of the great things, especially as someone who was a teenager when Phantom Menace came out, is that I had already spent my life in loving those movies, and so when that came out and you see him at his base, like his true origin there. That was one of the most fun things about those movies, and back then I didn't care that if it was good or not. Like I loved Phantom Menace and I still love Phantom Menace, but I've grown more critical of it. But back then I didn't care. I loved it. But that origin and then watching him change with each movie is also one of the great things about the prequels, because you see that with like Anakin becoming who he is and Obi-Wan turning from the Padawan into Alec Guinness, basically. But you also watch C-3PO become C-3PO, and I think that's all. I think that's great.
Cool. So moving on now, the last pick in round 3. I still have to pick my hero, my droid, and my obscure pick. And you all have picked your droid, so I'm not gonna pick my droid yet. I gotta go with Luke. I mean, he is the obvious hero that still hasn't been picked. I know there are other great heroes still, but I knew if I didn't take my hero now and I let Chad pick his hero and I left it to me, I probably wasn't gonna get Luke. But I still would have been happy with whoever I got. But I do think Luke, he's someone, if he didn't get drafted on this draft, I think it'd be a disservice, because he is the main protagonist of that original trilogy, and I think his character work in the sequels is my highlight of the sequels. Seeing him, how he has gone through the trauma, almost similar to what a lot of the Jedis who went in hiding after Order 66 went through, like Yoda. I mean, we see Yoda in Empire Strikes Back. It's a much different Yoda than the prequels, and I think I love the idea of making him a much different character than we last saw him, because so much has changed since he failed essentially with Kylo Ren. But I love that kind of almost redemption arc, but still staying true to who he is, while also being able to just evolve his character so much. I really love what they did with his character in the sequels. I know people don't, but I do. If that works against me on the graphics, so be it. But I think he's one of the most synonymous characters with Star Wars. I like him on this graphic, especially next to Chewie and the Emperor. I think I have some good classics on there, so I'm very happy to get him, especially in this 3rd round, considering I couldn't get Obi-Wan, which was my number 1, and Leia, which was in my number 2. So yeah, I'm happy to get my number 3 here, Luke, as my 3rd pick. Any thoughts on Luke? I mean, it's Luke.
I have thoughts. It is Luke. Sorry.
No, I was saying you said you had thoughts. I thought it was going to be a negative thing.
Oh no.
Oh, okay.
It's great. It's actually to touch on what you're saying with him in the sequels. I think Luke is I think he is the protagonist, or he is the hero of the whole thing, the protagonist of the original trilogy. And the thing is that you truly see, this is how it's designed, but you truly see the hero's journey with him. But he starts out as just a whiny farm boy. And here's the thing about the sequels. About him in the sequels, is that people always say, "Oh, they've changed him. Oh, it's a mischaracterization." I disagree. I think he has, from the beginning, been exactly who he was, and that's the exact person you would expect a whiny farm boy who gets too much power, who is always making choices with his feelings. Like that's always been his thing. When Yoda told him don't go save your friends, he went and saved his friends.
Right.
Like he has always chosen to do things off the cuff, and to he's always made those kind of decisions. So when we get to see him where he is, he made a split-second decision that was based entirely on his emotions that caused him to go to that island.
Yeah.
It's completely consistent for me. I love him in that movie. I agree. I think he's a great character. I think he becomes a greater character in the sequels, and I don't care. You can burn me to the ground, internet.
No, I agree.
I agree with you, Matt. I think that Luke in Last Jedi, I've watched many a video essay of people saying that Luke's character was butchered in The Last Jedi, but I'm in your camp. I think that The Last Jedi solidifies Luke as one of the best heroes because he goes through the hero's journey, not just from New Hope through Revenge of the Return of the Jedi. He goes through the hero's journey from A New Hope through The Last Jedi. He doesn't get his final moment of, I finally have figured it out, until he fights Kylo and gives him the see you around cape, which I think is the perfect stamp on his character. And I'm in your camp. I think it's beautiful. Good for you, Tim.
I completely agree with you on the hero's journey thing, because we have to remember that he doesn't beat the bad guy in Return of the Jedi.
Nope.
He doesn't beat the bad guy.
Nope.
He doesn't get that full redemption until the very end. That's when he gets his big win.
Right. Yep.
Yeah.
Any thoughts, Chad? Yeah.
Yeah. I just wanted to say I agree with both of you guys exactly, because I think The Last Jedi is my favorite Luke movie because I love the gruff, kind of super wise, he'll defeat you, by tricking you rather than actually like trying to fight you or something like that. And I actually find Luke very kind of like infuriating in the first two movies, for New Hope and Empire Strikes Back. At the very end of Empire, he kind of ruins that movie for me with the whining and nasally. Oh my God. Like I can't watch like the end of that movie sometimes because just, it's just so bad. That acting or whatever. I think Mark Hamill got much better from Return of the Jedi on. So
nice. Yeah. I mean, I disagree, but that's valid in your reasoning.
I can't watch the most iconic movie scene of all time.
No, but it is a very like.
I don't like that.
It's a very big scene in terms of like the emotions and the acting. It is very big. It's not very subtle. So it could. I see where you're coming from. Chris, any thoughts on Luke?
He's Luke Skywalker. He's the
right.
He's the literally the hero. I don't know. So that's a strong play.
Thank you.
Also, when he shows up in Mandalorian, I hated that.
Yeah, I was not a fan of that, only because of the use of the CGI, and I don't know. And we had just seen him in Last Jedi. I agree. I don't love that they needed to bring him in. Matt,
but
do
he
you
is a great pick.
You look like you.
That doesn't bother me. Like I get why people are upset by it, and would I have liked. Here's my thing. I don't care about the CGI because he's still alive, and he agreed to it, and he did all that. So that bit doesn't bother me. I wish they hadn't shown him talking. That's the only thing I care about. Yeah. I hate when those characters talk. I cannot understand it. Yeah, that's when the uncanny valley kicks in for me. The rest of it's fine. When we're talking about an expansive universe with where everything is canonical and everything is considered to be what actually happened, recasting I think is fine, but it doesn't bother me when they use the same characters to try to improve continuity. That doesn't bother me so much if they're alive. Right.
Speaking of continuity, let's continue the draft now to round 4. Now I'm in an interesting position because all of you have picked droids, so I don't have to take my droid now. But also, why would I take my obscure character? Because I'm sure we all have different obscure characters, and I still have a great list. I don't care. I'm going to take my droid now just because I think on the graphic, I would like my obscure character to be like the last pick of the draft because it would just be funny that way. So when I'm thinking of droid, my number 1 was BB-8 because I thought everyone was going to take R2 and C-3PO first. I was wrong. My backup number 4 was K2SO, also gone. So I'm going to go with my 5th, but I actually really like my pick for number 5 because also with my hero, I chose Luke, which means I was not able to get my other backup. And I do want to have some women representation on the board. So with my droid, I'm going to pick L337, also known as L3 for short, from Solo: A Star Wars Story. She is the droid, the feminine custom self-made piloting droid. And what I like about L3, besides the really emotional, surprisingly emotional send-off when she dies, is that she's fighting for like droid rights, which I think is very funny and kind of interesting because like the droids themselves always feel like you're kind of like side characters, just kind of there to add a little comedy, be kind of like a tool for the main characters to use. But she's actually, fighting for droids almost from like a more humane point of view, which I kind of think is a cool spin on just the idea of droids in general. Is that like she thinks droids have their own agency, and that's why she must fight for droid rights and stuff. And I don't like that movie very much, but I think the highlights of that movie are her and Lando's friendship and relationship. And I like how there's almost like a romance side to it. It's a little weird at first, but then I think to myself, it's Star Wars. It's a galaxy far, far away. Why not go as weird and kind of obscure as you can and have this relationship between this droid and Lando where there's almost some sort of romantic love there? Maybe if it's just one-sided, I don't know, or if it's both-sided. But I just like her character because I think it adds a few new elements that we've never seen to Star Wars. Obviously, it's not going to compete with the other 4 droids, but I think as a 5th droid pick, if I had to go with one, I'd rather go with one that actually had a really impactful storyline and arc rather than just oh that's a droid that you might see like buzzing around the Death Star. Because now that all the droids are picked, I can say I'm not going to pick the Gonk droid or the the droids that are marching in Phantom Menace. Like those droids just feel a little disposable to me. So I like this character because she has a little bit more agency. She seems like she's more of a character than she is a droid, which I really like. I know it's not a popular pick, but hey, I couldn't get the first 4, so I'm happy with this. Chad, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I love that pick because I didn't think of her, to be honest. But I'm very surprised because this was one I was thinking of that no one went with IG-11 from The Mandalorian,
He
because
was
I
on my
think
list.
he really freaking like made that show towards the end of it. But I mean, I like your pick, Dylan. I'm just like, now that everyone's picked a droid, I'm like, I wanted to honorable mention him real quick and just go, that dude was amazing.
He was on the list too, but I wanted to go with the female representation a little bit because I really wanted Leia, and then I also wanted another hero that like if I couldn't get them,
True.
I'm just trying to think about how I can vary my board, but that is a good pick as well. Anyone else have thoughts on this character? I know it's a little bit more obscure, but
No, I would just say that IG-11 was on my list. Oh, sorry, Zach, you were about to say something.
No, I was just going to say I'm just impressed that you were able to pick a droid out. I mean, picking after the 4 is hard. Yeah. So bravo to you for coming up with not only an option, a good option.
Yeah, I think those who like the movie will appreciate the pick. So
I will say that she was on my list. And there's numerous reasons, this is a great choice. Number one, the whole feminist thing that just pissed off so many weak fanboys. I love it. It gives me life.
Yeah, if that's how I go down in this draft, so be it. I will stand up for women's rights and women droid rights. That's right. Droids
you love to see too. It. Second reason this is great. Phoebe Waller-Bridge. I absolutely adore her. I love her so much.
Oh,
and I'm
Matt, you're making my case even sweeter. Thank you.
Yes, I am. Third reason, I think most importantly here, is that I actually enjoy Solo. I'll just blanket this. I like all Star Wars movies except maybe the Clone Wars movie. I don't really like that movie, but I think all movies are good. But so that movie is in the good camp with me. I like that movie. But her and Lando's relationship was part of what made that movie for me as well. Mm-hmm. But here's the thing that I think really sells your case as well is that she becomes the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah, she does. Yeah, they use her parts.
They use her AI for the onboard computer. Like she becomes the Millennium Falcon at the
You know
end.
what?
Like,
I think I have the best droid, guys. I don't know about y'all, but
I don't know how many people know that though.
well, they're
Unfortunately.
gonna watch this.
I mean,
and
it's in the
hopefully
movie. It's
yeah,
yeah,
but
they
no, but
do.
it's. I'll give that to Chad though because I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Because I've only seen Solo a handful of times. It's not one I revisit a lot. But Chris, what do you think of that pick?
I'm gonna take a knee and say that I have never seen Solo.
That's fair.
Not that great.
Chris, don't worry. I
Chris-
wasn't going to say it until someone else did.
You haven't seen it
You're
either?
not
Zach?
missing
No.
anything.
Oh. Well,
It just-
anyway,
I loved Rogue One. But Solo just
I
didn't really
think
hit my radar
Solo's-
that.
I think
much.
Solo's fine. I think it's good. I enjoy that movie. But Chris,
It's got Donald Glover in it too, and I
Yeah.
love him.
Donald Glover
Yeah.
doing a spot-on
He's
impression.
great.
well, if you want to
of-
see Donald Glover have a romantic farewell to a droid and cry a little, then I recommend
Chris.
that scene.
You know,
you will love that droid. That will be a feminist droid who just sasses all the whole time. That is your cup of tea. Mike.
Oh, that's right up my alley. But I have to watch this movie for that.
But yeah, Chris, your watch list expands,
some
but
clips.
your draft list is also about to expand because you have the next pick on the clock. You have not picked yet a
yes.
supporting creature or an obscure character, so go for it. I don't know which one you'll pick, so I'm excited to find out.
Well, I'm hoping this one will work as a supporting creature.
Okay.
And I'm just kind of thinking about how it's going to play, like how it's going to look. But I'm just going to say Admiral Akbar.
Yeah, I think that counts. Yeah, he's in enough movies that I would
Like,
say.
let's just
more
pretend like those old
supporting.
memes of him are funny again.
Yeah.
And like just go that route. But yeah, no, I like
I mean,
him.
he's got that iconic line. It's a trap.
Iconic,
you know,
it's a
that's-
trap. Yeah.
People
Yeah, he
applaud
was-
during that moment.
He was actually on my 5 because I do think this category was a little narrow because some of the creatures kind of fall more into the obscure territory, but he's definitely I think one of the like main supporting creatures that you see especially in that original trilogy. So I think it's a good pick. Anyone else have thoughts?
I think it's a good pick. It
Cool.
yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
Pick,
that
he's got an iconic line.
I recently watched Return of the Jedi at the Baltimore Symphony Orchestra, which was pretty amazing. That was a great moment. That was a great time to see that whole movie, but that part with it's a trap. It was so great.
Yep. So now moving on to round 4, pick 3. Zach, you have picked everything but I believe a villain and an obscure character. So which would you like to take now?
Has everyone taken a villain already?
Matt has not.
I have not taken.
All right, I got to take a villain. Sorry. I can't have Obi-Wan Kenobi without Darth Maul.
Ooh,
Nice.
pick.
And I don't know if that was your pick, Matt. But
He's number 5 on my list. So.
okay. Darth Maul, man. If Ahsoka Tano is the reason I fell back in love with Star Wars, Darth Maul is the reason I fell in love with it in the first place. Because there are few things as iconic as a double-sided lightsaber. And there's a reason that there's a reason that he wields it, and there's a reason that he then came back. And not only came back again. and I just think I shouldn't say there's very few, but it's not so common that you see a fan base cry out for more of a character everyone presumes to be dead.
Yeah.
But boy, oh boy, did they want and did they deliver with Darth Maul. A beautiful story arc after basic no dialogue in his first ever appearance except for one line.
Yes, Master or something, I think is the line.
He
has
has a couple. Peter Serafinowicz does the voice, and he has a couple in that movie. Yeah.
but it's very subtle.
Darth Maul in all of Clone Wars is some of the best. That's Sam Whittier, isn't it?
Sam Witwer, yeah.
Witwer, yeah.
Where he is mind blowing in that series. Unbelievable. And and then you get what and secretly in my heart I'm hoping for a little bit of Darth Maul and Kenobi. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it will because and there's a little bit of a weird thing with timeline because in Rebels we get to see their final duel.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're right. You're right. The timeline. No, I think you're right. Yeah.
And so I don't know if there's like a happenstance that maybe they'll
Mm.
fight, but like I think Darth Maul's iconic. He's not as iconic as Sidious or obviously Vader, but to a young generation of Star Wars fans, he was our first villain.
True.
And
Yeah.
he was amazing.
He's got a cool look too. I think that also plays into it too.
Oh, yeah.
The red and the black and
He
the
was the Halloween costume of like the 2000s.
I dressed up as him. Okay. I'm sorry. I know I talk a lot, but I really need to piggyback off this because I love your passion for this character and really for everything. But this is not a negative. I know it sounds like it's about to be a negative. It's not at all. Because you're a fellow watcher of the animated series. It's
Beautiful.
Yes. He had okay. First of all, let me say that in Phantom Menace, he was as awesome as Jar Jar sucked.
Yes.
So if anything, like if we're talking about the merits and pitfalls of those movies, I mean, I won't say he saved that movie, but he absolutely made up for a lot of what went on in that movie.
He did a lot of heavy lifting.
He did a lot of heavy lifting.
That lightsaber battle is, I still think, one of the best. And when we do another Star Wars draft someday, I want to draft like lightsaber battles and stuff like that because that lightsaber battle is so good.
It's so good. But after that, you think that's the end of the character, and for good reason, he gets chopped in twain. But then he gets this new life in the animated series in Clone Wars and in Rebels. And he has a full hero's journey as a villain's journey. He has, you're right, it's a beautiful story that isn't as squeaky clean as a lot of the stories that we get told because it's from a villain's perspective, but it hits all of those right notes and it has a beginning and it has an end, and that ending is so beautiful. Like it's like if you guys haven't watched Rebels, I recommend it, but especially because it's just a great show, but especially because you get to see the end of his story, and it's so good. And I would love to see him in Obi-Wan. I don't know that we will because I think that might cheapen that last
he was in
battle.
Solo, so
and I was going to say if we can talk about even just the Kenobi trailer, I just got chills when Duel of the Fates plays in that first like 50. I lost it. I was like, this is because they know and that he is a part of that iconic moment. So that's Matt and I are on the same wavelength. We don't always agree, but we're always on a similar wavelength.
Chris, any thoughts on Darth Maul?
Kind of like you said, when I first really started to get into Star Wars, it was when Episode 1 came out, like when I was a teen, and Darth Maul was super cool. I don't know. I just remember that was my takeaway from that movie. Yeah. Like I remember Jar Jar Binks bad, Darth Maul pretty cool.
Yeah, he is very cool. Now moving on to pick 4, Chad, you have the 4th pick in the 4th round, the 16th pick. Sorry, not 16th. Sorry, 19th pick. I'm doing my math wrong. I just did 4 times 4, which was wrong. So, Chad, you picked your villain, you picked your droid, you picked your supporting creature. So you get to either pick a hero or an obscure character, and you'll get either the first pick of obscure or the 5th pick of heroes. It's up to you.
Well, I would be a fool not to go with my obscure because Matt has already chosen his hero.
Okay, we're getting our first obscure pick. I can't wait to hear what it is.
The hero will come back to me no matter what. I'm going to go with my obscure character. I believe this counts. This person is only in like 15 seconds, I believe, of the movie, but he is one of my favorite obscure characters, and he's like really, really, really funny in the movie. And it's from Return of the Jedi.
Oh no. Say it.
I'm choosing Malakili, the Rancor Keeper.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's great. He cries.
Boy, oh boy, is it obscure, man.
Okay, good. Yeah. So I don't think I I stole anything from anybody, so that's great because that's
No,
the
I thought
one
you were
that
going to pick
I've
my pick, but I'm glad you didn't.
been wanting the whole time.
Yeah, I'm just going to
Because-
show all our obscure picks to the camera just so people watching at home
Thank
know
you.
what it is. There he is. There he is.
So just a brief little description is, Luke goes in and ends up killing this Rancor by dropping like a gate on his head, and you're like, oh good, he killed this creature that was like killing people because Jabba says so, and then you have the Keeper come in, and he just sits there and sobs on someone's shoulder for like a few seconds. And it's a brilliant part of this movie because it kind of recontextualizes, like the Rancor was kind of someone's pet, and then you go, oh no, the Rancor's dead.
They I know not everyone watched all of Boba Fett, but they kind of explain that in Boba Fett because Boba gets a Rancor for underneath his for because he takes over Jabba's palace, so it's the same place. For down the Rancor pit, and when they bring in the Rancor, they bring in a trainer, and the trainer explains how they have to have a connection, like in order to get a Rancor to do something for you. It's not, you don't do it with a whip, you do it with an emotional connection. And I think that's absolutely retconning it to make it make sense, to make it not cheesy that the dude cries. But it does recontextualize it in a way where you're like, okay, so that's why this dude cried. Like, that's why he bawls when his Rancor dies. Yeah. I think that's a great pick. It's very good. Well done.
Yeah, I just think it's so funny because we're gonna see like Darth Vader, R2, Yoda, and then Malakili, Keeper, and then his fifth pick is gonna be an iconic hero. So it's just gonna be just smack dab because you're probably gonna have just one of the most like just recognizable lineups, but then this guy's just gonna be smack dab in the middle, and that's why I love this category. Zach or Chris, do you have anything to add, or because I don't?
What a beautiful
pick. I have nothing to add.
Thing you've done, Chad.
No notes.
Make sure you put Rancor Keeper in like parentheses next to Malakili.
I'll make sure. So now, Matt, you get two picks. So we're gonna find out your obscure character, but you can pick your villain before that if you want for the graphic purposes. You can go in any order you choose, but you still have a villain and an obscure character to take.
This one's okay. So this is kind of hard because the villain is the one I'm struggling with the most, and it's also the one that I don't think anybody's going to take any of them from. Not that it matters because I'm about to do both of my last two. And
you're the last one to pick a villain, so it doesn't.
Yeah. Oh, am I the last one to pick a villain also?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, see, that wouldn't really matter. I'm still struggling with it, so I'm going to go with my obscure background character.
Okay.
And I have a list of 5. I'm not going to name them right now. We can do honorable mentions here at the end. I have a list of 5. 5 of them are equivalent to Malakili, the whatever that guy's name is, the Rancor Keeper. Malakili, the Rancor Keeper. 4 of them are equivalent to that. One of them is actually a pretty important character to me and to the Star Wars universe. He has no lines in the movies, and that's actually who I'm going to pick. Okay. He is in the animated series a few times and in a lot of books and stuff like that, but he is an obscure background character in the movies themselves. He is one of the wisest of all the Jedi, and his name is Plo Koon.
Plo Koon, baby, good.
I've heard
that.
He's actually my favorite Jedi. I really love Plo Koon. Yes, it's that guy. He's
the dude with the long head.
No, that's Kiadi Mundi.
Yeah, he's got almost like I don't even know how to describe that face.
Okay, so the
like
face,
like
the
a
face
turkey
on
Thanksgiving.
Yeah, the face and glasses are breathing.
It's like in Friends when they put the sunglasses on the turkey on her.
That is what it looks like. The mask and glasses are because he comes from a dusty planet or a planet that is uninhabitable for most people, and so he can't breathe the same air that everybody else breathes, and so he has that for breathing. And the eyes are because he comes from a dusty planet, and so he has to be able to protect his eyes from actual light. Anyway, Plo Koon is one of the, as I mentioned, was one of the wisest of all the Jedi, but he's also one of the best of all the Jedi. He's my favorite, but he is considered one of the best of all the Jedi. And one of the reasons I love him so much is because, like Ahsoka, and you'll notice that this is the theme with me. Just get it out of the way. I'm a humanist. That's why a lot of my choices when it comes to characters comes from that. I believe in the sanctity of life, like a person, the life of people or beings. I believe that they are important. So does he. He actually is concerned for the life of all kinds of beings. If they have a life, he's concerned for them. He is in the Clone Wars animated series. He is the first person to tell the clones, or the first character to tell the clones, you aren't just a herd to me. You are actually people. And later Ahsoka proves that, and not a lot of Jedi do that. That's why, as I mentioned before, Yoda lobs their heads off at first, or they get sent in. There's something to be said about how the Separatists sent in droids, but the Republic sent in people. And Plo Koon recognized that they sent in people, which is not something everybody recognized. Yeah. But he's also really, really cool. If you ever see him in action, he's really fun. He's cool. He uses Force lightning, but he's like one of the only Jedi to ever use Force lightning, because he does it by using the will of the Force, not by harnessing the dark side, and that's not something most people can do. Usually, they have to harness the dark side. They have to use their fear and hate to use Force lightning. But his is yellow, and it comes from the will of the Force. He used it the first time to protect someone, not out of fear for their life or for hate for the person, but because it was the right thing to do. And he's very wise, and I love him. And I recommend everyone go watch the series and read any book that he's in, and he's great.
Nice. And Matt, you can transition right now to your villain pick, since we're in the last round now. We can get this going.
Does anybody have anything to say about Plo Koon?
I don't personally.
I don't know that much about him, but you said
characters,
everything.
Yeah, these obscure characters are tough to really elaborate on. They're very personal picks.
When I say that Matt and I are in the same wavelength, even if we don't always agree, it's really that, because Plo Koon is one of the reasons I love Ahsoka. It's their relationship. And
yes,
I'm with you. I recommend that everyone needs to go watch the Clone Wars series. I will say it 1,000,001 times. It made me fall in love with Star Wars again. Because
I recommend going online and finding a viewing order, because watching in the order of their own thing is madness.
It is not best watched in chronological. It is best watched, or in release order. It is best watched in chronological order.
And there are guides online, and it's pretty simple, especially because they get into chronological order in the later seasons, but the first few seasons.
But one of the things that I love is that they take someone like Plo Koon, who is an obscure character, and they make him human. They make him lovable, and you connect with him. So that, because again, there's a very distinct memory I have of watching Revenge of the Sith, and you see Ki-Adi-Mundi die, you see Plo Koon die, and I forget who the third one is, and that's really bad.
Kit Fisto or no?
Oh, Kit Fisto is one of them.
Jayla.
But like
Jayla is,
you don't have much empathy or feeling for what happens to them until you watch the Clone Wars series, and you're like, oh my God, they are not only are they people, they were good people.
Yeah.
Like they are, and they were like you said, we all think Obi-Wan, Anakin, Mace, Yoda, them, but they're not even the best of their kind.
No.
They are not even anywhere close. And that's what I think Plo Koon's a great choice for that. Not everyone might know it.
Yeah.
But then I hope that pick encourages people to go watch.
Cool. Yes, absolutely. And he died when he died being shot down in his starship, which at first I feel like, I'm like, gosh, he deserves so much better. But also, if he hadn't been in his starship, they probably wouldn't have killed him. So
all right, let's move on now to pick one of the fifth round. Matt, who's going to be your villain pick?
Okay, I have 3 at the top of my list. Okay. Vader was number 4. Darth Maul was number 5.
Whoa. Okay.
Yes, exactly. And again, this is going with my heart. I love
Mhm.
Vader. I love Darth Maul. They're both really cool characters. But when I think about the villains I love, it comes down to three of them, and I'm gonna have to talk about two of them in the honorable mentions. But right now, I have to choose one of them, and I think I'm going to choose the one I do have at top, and it's going to get me no votes. And that is Mithron Yorodo, otherwise known as Grand Admiral Thrawn.
Yes, man.
All right, he did it. He went with Thrawn, of course.
Please explain what that is to me.
Oh, dude, Thrawn is. Oh, you're not.
No, go ahead, Zach. I would love to hear. Okay.
No. You would do better justice than
try to keep it somewhat brief, just because we have 11 minutes. We have 11 minutes, so we got.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He is. Thrawn is Chiss. That's his race, and he joins the originally the Republic, but he joins the Empire in order to get freedom for his people to as a way and then he actually goes up the ranks. He is working for them, but he's actually working against the Empire because he's working towards his own means. But he does work up the ranks to Grand Admiral. Go read the Thrawn books and watch Rebels because he's also in Rebels.
I will say I grew up reading the Timothy Zahn novels, and that was where the character was. I never thought they would ever bring him into like the actual movies or TV shows, because as soon as Episode 7 came out, we all realized it was not going to follow the Heir to the Empire, all those books. We were just like, oh, it's a new story. So I was like, oh, Thrawn's not going to show up, and to see that he is now part of the universe, and even that they brought him up in Mandalorian too, I'm like, I'm excited to see more of him for sure. It was never
people want Benedict Cumberbatch to play him. Like there is
a good it'd be a good choice. Yeah,
he would be amazing.
I have to say I think it's like you said, it's not going to win you over any winner any stray votes. I think it's not going to play as well in the graphic, but I like you for going for your heart for that pick, because I think it's a good interesting a detour away from the actual the heavy hitters, if you will, because we've all picked villains. So some of the ones that weren't mentioned, Kylo Ren, Count Dooku, General Grievous, Grand Moff Tarkin. There are some big heavy hitters still left on the board. So I appreciate the passion pick.
And we might see him. We might see him in Ahsoka, because the last place we saw him before Mandalorian, or last place we saw her before Mandalorian, she was searching for him, and she did ask about him in the Mandalorian. So
maybe it will be better to come back. Any Chris or Chad? Any thoughts on Thrawn?
Okay. I don't know anything about that character, so passion pick.
I do recommend the books. I haven't seen Rebels though. Chad, who is going to be your? You actually get a pick at a hero. Actually, ending it with a hero, and there's still some really good ones on the board. So please let us know what you're going to pick.
Yeah, there's a couple on my mind. I mean, my original first pick was going to be Leia, because I think she's a brilliant pick. I think Han was a great pick. Luke was a great pick. They wouldn't have been choices of mine personally. But so then I want to go with kind of a similar vein. And I stuck with like a lot of the older ones. I need to go with, kind of a sequel, kind of hero now. So I'm gonna go with Rey.
That's.
I think Rey is just a fantastic character. I think she kind of was a little bit underserved in that trilogy. I think like a lot of these characters, especially another hero that fought alongside Rey, I won't say the name, was kind of very, very.
No one. Everyone's picked their hero.
Okay, so. Yeah. Finn was also very, very underserved in that trilogy, but a lot of characters were. Unfortunately, I don't think that is the fault of the character or Daisy Ridley. I think she did the best with what she had in there, and I just thought she was a really great hero. I loved seeing her be like Luke Skywalker of that trilogy. I thought that was really cool, even though there was a lot of backlash for people who don't like to see women in things. And also, people like to use the term Mary Sue for her, which I think is probably a very sexist term. But You know, I don't think she's that. I think she's just a really great character who,
Mhm.
you know, just learns to find that like force within herself. I mean, also you have, you know, Luke in the very
Oh.
first movie. I don't get what the joke that I said, but
You said find the force within herself.
oh yeah. But
Force.
yeah, I mean, Luke, you know, when he first gets a hold of a lightsaber, just starts waving it around willy nilly. Like, who gave that kid a lightsaber? He's never held one before. Why would you let him hold one without even telling him what it is? And he just picks it up, starts waving it around. I'm like, you know, so there's things like that in the original series too. So yeah. Anyways, I just think that she's fantastic. I love the connection that she has with, you know, Kylo and
Mm.
stuff in the movies. I just think like, you know, a lot of the, you know, visual stuff with it. I love how she's like going and, you know, searching for scraps, and you know, she just kind of like knows how to fly the Millennium Falcon because she has experience with a lot of that stuff, and she knows those like little tunnels and stuff. She flies it through there. She's just a brilliant character. I love her so much. Rey is
Yeah.
great.
I love the pick. I think if Luke had been taken and Obi-Wan had been taken, like, she was definitely in my 5. It's just I was lucky enough to still be able to get Luke, and that's why I did ultimately go with L337, because I wanted a woman on my board, even though I couldn't get Rey because I picked Luke. But I love the pick of Rey. I think she's a great character. She's definitely my favorite of the new crop of characters next to BB-8. So I think it's a great pick. Anyone else have any thoughts on Rey?
I think it's a great pick. I think that Mary. I think anybody who called her Mary Sue wasn't paying attention to the movies at all. Especially because they explain it twice. They explain it and they retcon it. They explain in Last Jedi that it's because he is so powerful and she has to. The Force is balancing itself. They explain that, and then they explain that it's because she has a really powerful grandpa.
Yeah,
which apparently was the better thing.
If anyone listening ever needs an explanation why Rey is not a throwaway character, Freddie Prinze Jr., who played Kanan Jarrus in
Rebels.
the Rebel series, has a really great episode on a podcast. You can find it just by searching it up, where he literally he goes off on a rant about how people have this big thought process about gatekeeping around Star Wars, when the whole process is it's natural balance. If the light goes too strong one way, the Force balances it by giving something to the dark side, and it goes vice versa. So Rey showing up and being just as good as Kylo is not like, oh, it's just retconning. No, it's the Force, because George Lucas deemed it that the Force cannot ever be imbalanced. It needs to properly balance.
Yep.
And I'm also just a huge fan of Rey's parents being like nobody special.
Mhm.
So
yeah, I'm a Rey nobody person as well, but that's
Nice.
that's another thing.
I'm gonna put her on the graphic as Rey, no Skywalker, no Palpatine, just Rey, because I think it would sway people one way or the other, and I don't want to do that to you, Chad, in your graphic, because it's a good graphic.
Thank you.
But,
He's not help.
So now we have 3 obscure picks to get from Zach, Chris, and myself. So Zach, you will go first. Who is your obscure pick going to be?
I was gonna go for a heart pick. I'm going for the graphic. It's Greedo, baby.
Oh, okay, good, nice. That's a nice little side character. I love it.
I mean, Greedo, again, I'm going for some iconic points because Han shot first, and that's what everyone thinks about is Greedo. And I mean, he establishes Han as the ultimate badass that he is, and I think that that's one of the best parts about A New Hope is it's a really phenomenal expositional film where we just get to know everything, and Greedo is the assistance to Han, and it is so unbelievably important because of that.
It's funny because he should be more obscure than he is, but I think it's because of that moment that he isn't. But he still counts because he's in like 2 seconds of the movie. But any other thoughts on Greedo? Anyone?
It's a good pick.
Yeah,
Good.
Chris or Chad? Anything? No? Cool. Awesome. So now continuing on, Chris, your obscure pick. I can't wait to find out yours because all 5 of mine are still on my board, which is crazy. Chris, what are you gonna go with for your obscure pick?
I don't know if mine is all that obscure. I'm gonna go with, I guess the character's name is Elon Cell Sabagno, the Death Sticks guy.
Oh, nice.
Oh, the Death Sticks guy. Yes.
Wait, I don't know what this is. Do I?
He tries to sell death sticks. to Obi-Wan, and Obi-Wan's like, you do not want to sell
You don't want to
me
tell me death sticks. I
No,
don't
no,
know.
this-
I want
this
you to go
guy?
home and rethink.
Yes,
I want you to go home and
that
rethink
guy.
your life. I want you to go home and rethink
I
my
don't
life.
remember this guy. Oh, nice.
He goes into the bar and he's like, "Do you want some death sticks?"
You
I
do,
don't wanna get
Dylan.
that.
I want to go home and rethink my life.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, great pick.
Good call.
So definitely he'll have to be known as Death Sticks Guy in
Yeah, I'm gonna write that down.
Yes.
So Elon sells Sabagno Death Sticks guy.
Elon Musk sells death sticks.
No, stop. Oh man, I can't believe we get to round this out. And I thought maybe a few of mine would go, so I would know who to pick. But now I'm left with 5 picks that I really like that I don't know which I'm gonna pick. Which is I'm gonna pick the funniest option because I considered some people. I considered Babu Frick, really cute little guy.
He's on my list.
I considered Salacious B. Crumb, another iconic.
He
He's
was
on my list.
I considered Dexter Jetster, of course.
Also on my list.
But I have to go with not just now. You guys will have to keep me honest and let me know if I can include the whole band. But I'm gonna pick Max
Absolutely.
Rebo.
Absolutely.
Max Rebo.
Absolutely.
Of course.
Okay, so if you guys let me take the whole band, I'm gonna take Max Rebo and the Jizz Whalers.
You
I
deserve
think-
it. You
I think
deserve
Max
it.
Rebo
Is that
he's
what
got-
they're called?
Yes,
Jizz
the
Whalers,
style
yeah.
of music is called jizz.
It's called Jizz.
So
Okay.
in Star Wars, yeah, music is jizz music. I
God,
like
that's
Max
terrible.
Rebo. He's got the elephant iconography. Elephant is one of my top 2 favorite animals. Number 2 behind dog. I love the ears. I love the color. His color really pops, especially in Jabba's palace. I wanted to get someone from Jabba's palace, and I was scared when Chad said he was going to. And I was like, oh no, he's gonna take Max Rebo and the Jizz Whalers, and I'm glad he took Malakili. So we got some good representation from all the movies in these obscure categories. So I'm very happy to have Max Rebo and the Jizz Whalers on my side. Any thoughts on that pick?
You're brilliant, Dylan.
Yeah, that's actually on my list. But yeah, it's great. It's great.
Yeah. So we will run off honorable mentions in a second. This is going to go a little over the time, but that's okay. We had some great discussions, but we will get you guys out of here soon. But let's go through these. Matt's roster: Han Solo, Ahsoka Tano, K2SO, Plo Koon, and Grand Admiral Thrawn. Chad's is Darth Vader, R2D2, Yoda, Malakili, the Rancor Keeper, and Rey. Zach is Grogu, BB-8, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Darth Maul, and Greedo. Chris's is Princess Leia, Leia Organa, Boba Fett, C-3PO, Admiral Akbar, and Elon Sabagno, the Death Sticks guy. And mine is Emperor Palpatine, aka Darth Sidious, Chewbacca, Luke Skywalker, L337, and Max Rebo and the Jizz Whalers.
Oh man!
So that is your graphic. That is your whole. Well, your graphic you will not see, but you can now go to the Facebook page and vote because the graphic will be up there. We will not tell you whose was which. You'll have to watch to find out. That's how we're going to get people to watch it. And even if you don't watch, you'll be able to see the graphic and vote for who your favorite was. Matt's will be draft 1, Chad's will be draft 2, Zach's will be draft 3, Chris's will be draft 4, and mine will be draft 5. That'll be available as soon as this episode ends for you to vote on the Facebook page, Dyl Pickle Movie Network. Go check it out on the Facebook group. Matt, any honorable mentions? Quickly, any of the categories you can roll through?
I've got lots of honorable mentions, but I'll be quick.
Let's go category by category. So any heroes? I had Finn and Poe, and then Lando, and of course Din Djarin, aka the Mandalorian, was on my list as well. Matt, let's just go around circle. Matt, any other hero honorable mentions?
Din Djarin was the one that didn't get picked. That was on my list.
Cool. Chad,
No, you said them all.
Zach,
Same thing.
cool.
It was
Chris?
just Mando.
Just Jyn Erso, I guess.
Cool.
from Rogue
Oh,
One.
Jyn Erso. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Villains. Some of the obvious ones that weren't mentioned: Kylo Ren, Grand Moff Tarkin, Count Dooku, Grievous. I know Matt, you had a few. Do you have any others?
Kylo Ren was on there. I almost picked him. Just mostly Adam Driver. It was just great.
Oh yeah.
The other one that almost made it over Thrawn was Asajj Ventress, and this is also one where Zach and I were going to. I first fell in love with her during the original Clone Wars cartoon.
That is awesome.
The like Samurai Jack style.
Yes,
Clone Wars.
and that was great. And I was so
Kardashian,
happy that they brought her into canon. And her story is great. Again, guys, go watch Clone Wars and do it in the right order.
Everyone needs to.
And then read the book Dark. Oh fuck, I forgot the Dark Apprentice, Star Wars book. It takes place during the Clone Wars. It's so good. It's about her and another Jedi. It's so good. Read it.
Cool. Chad, any other villains?
Yeah, I mean, if I didn't get the second pick and could pick Darth Vader, I was gonna pick Kylo Ren because I think his Adam Driver's performance as Kylo Ren is the single best Star Wars performance I've ever seen.
I
So
agree.
Cool. Zach,
Yes.
any other villains?
Just Kylo Ren, and I
Cool.
agree double with Chad.
Yep. Chris, any other villains?
Count Dooku because Christopher Lee.
Yeah, Christopher
Nice.
Lee, so good.
No.
Moving on now. The supporting creatures, there weren't really a ton left to choose from. I mean, Maz Kanata kind of was one that I was thinking about, but she's a little bit more obscure. Also, Wicket, great little Ewok in that movie, but I didn't really have a ton more. Matt, did you have any others?
I did. First, I'll just say Zeb from Rebels was on my list. He's just a really great character. Has a really great episode that's kind of devoted to him. Anyway, and then the most important one, which is Itchy.
Yes, I knew you would bring him up.
Chewbacca's porn watching father.
From the Christmas special
From
the
Christmas
holiday special. Sorry, holiday special. I almost called you Chewbacca. Chad Baca. Any other supporting creatures?
yeah, all of the Ewoks because they're adorable.
Yeah.
I love them. Zach.
I had, believe it or not, Jar Jar Binks was on there.
Oh.
We got
And-
some defenders.
And Cad Bane.
I love Cad Bane.
Cad
Really good
Bane, baby. Cad Bane he just showed up in Boba Fett for the first time live action, but he is another Clone Wars guy who co-hunched the Clone Wars.
Cad Bane is my favorite bounty hunter.
Agreed.
So
I
would he
didn't
be a
love him in
villain
Boba
more?
Fett, but I he's my favorite.
Would he count more as a
Jar
villain?
Jar's
or-
a villain.
I guess it doesn't matter.
I,
Jar
I
Jar's a
think,
villain
I
or
think
side
I don't think he's more of a villain. I think in the same realm, again, if we're gonna use it in the same realm, if Ahsoka is a supporting, he's the same kind of thing.
Yeah, I would also say he's more of a, in wrestling terms, he's more of a tweener. He's not. I wouldn't say he's a villain. He's kind of he's a mercenary, not a.
He's like a free hire. He's not like a inherently evil person.
Chris, any other supporting creature honorable mentions?
Sebulba.
Sebulba.
He was
Good
in
one,
the
yes.
background.
That was the name that
background.
Zach was trying to pull earlier.
Yeah.
The pod racing guy.
Yeah.
And also,
Oh no!
no, that's Watto. Watto, Andy. Yeah,
That's Watto.
That was not the one that I was. I knew Sebulba, but there's.
You're talking about the guy whose engine exploded.
Oh, that guy.
I love it. Any other droids? I mean, I have R5D4 on my list. Dio from the newest movie, The Rise of Skywalker.
General Grievous.
Oh, is he a droid?
He's not a
Yeah,
droid.
dude.
Yeah.
No, he's a cyborg. He's an alien with
I would've counted.
animatronic
I would've
parts.
I went back and forth on that actually myself because I had listed
I
other
would
droids
disagree.
first,
He's not a
but-
droid. He's got a brain and a heart.
All
Yeah,
right,
but like so do a lot of them.
well, hey, if we're ever to do this
Interesting.
again, maybe we'll have
I
that
also-
debate another time.
I
Yeah,
also
Zach?
was. I also was really. This was not TV show or movie. This was video game, and it was BD1.
He
From
would have been
Order.
on my list. He would have been on my list if we had been able to.
Little binoculars.
Yeah.
I just
Nice.
had him. I had him as like I was gonna throw it out and see if people would
Yeah.
take it, and if they didn't, it would have been okay.
And now my favorite honorable mentions, the obscure characters, like I said, Dexter Jetster, Salicious B. Crumb, Lobot was a good one as well. With the
Lobot. With the,
Lobot.
Yeah.
Yaddle, you can't have
Yeah.
Yoda without Yaddle,
Yeah.
obviously.
I simply had the Wilhelm scream.
Oh, that's
Excellent.
See, that would have been a fun graphic.
I would have loved that, and I would have accepted it. Back to droids real quick. Chopper from Rebels. He was also on my list.
Also good, man.
Matt, do you have any other obscure characters? To bring up?
You know
Sure
I
you
do. You know I do. Salacious B. Crumb was mentioned earlier. Max Rebo. The two big ones that I really loved were Bumping Head Stormtrooper.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Is that on the thing? Yeah.
That's good too. Damn.
And my favorite, this is literally number 2 on my list. If I didn't go with Plo Koon, I was going to go with Wilro Hood, who is the guy who in New Hope when they are. It was a New Hope when they
Empire?
are.
No.
It was an Empire.
I think it was
maybe
Empire.
It was
Yeah.
Empire. When all of the when they're all running and everybody's running and this actor apparently picked up an ice cream maker and ran out the door, and it became so iconic that in Mandalorian they repurposed the ice cream makers into actual things that work into something else.
OMG,
Whatever
I didn't know.
in Mandalorian he keeps something in there. I don't remember what it is, but
Interesting.
yeah,
that's pretty cool though. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was your number 2. Wow.
That was number 2.
Love it. And Chad, do you have any other obscure characters?
No, I don't go that deep.
I was gonna say Malakili is, I think, as deep as you can get. Chris, do you have any other honorable mention for obscure characters?
I would have gone with Dexter Jetster, but
Nice.
and also Itchy, but that's it.
Yeah, I love the holiday special, love. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for doing this. Was so much fun. It was a little long, but hey, I think we had some good stuff to talk about. Some fun debates, not too debate heavy in terms of categories and vetoes. The Ahsoka one being the only one, but we got rid of that in round 2, and now we had smooth sailing since then. So it was a very fun draft, and we will announce a winner on next month's draft day. And again, these polls will stay open forever, so like, things can change as time goes on. So get people to listen to the show and tune into the poll on the group to vote. I'm just going to collect everyone else's social media and put it in the description below, just so we can promote ourselves, but so that we don't have to go another few minutes over. But thank you guys so much for joining, and we'll see you all next time on Draft Day.